Making it in time to class. So we're gonna start by first things first. I will respectfully ask everyone to switch on their cameras so we can all get to know each other and also respect those who have their cameras on. And I mean, it's a tradition for us to have everyone turn on their cameras while we have class, so we can actually build a relationship with our students, look at your facial expression while we're teaching to know if you're actually understanding or not. So we do that because if you imagine me come to class or my co-trainer come to class and we have our cameras off, I don't think it's good for the training. But I understand there are situations where um, you might be doing something serious or something is going on and you have to switch off your camera for a bit. That is fine, but we'll respectfully ask everyone to turn their cameras on during class so we can make the class more productive and more interactive. So I will start by introducing myself and then introducing my co-trainers. So I'm Gerald Che. I'm in Houston, Texas. I used to be in Boston for a very long time, and I recently moved to Houston last year. So I I am the one of the trainers for the class, and I also have my co-trainer Kingsley, and I also have my co-trainer Charles. These are very talented IT engineers that I've worked with them for a very long time. So I'll tell you a little bit about myself. I used to be in the field of healthcare, specifically nursing, and I decided to make a switch after a few years because I heard the boom that was going on in IT, and at first I was procrastinating, but after visiting a friend and I saw how transformed his life is, I decided to make the switch from nursing because I realized that in nursing I was working so much hours and making less money than the guy who's a nurse working, who's an IT professional working less hours. He was almost tripling what I was making. So I decided to talk to him, talk to some other folks, and I got in, and the rest is history. So I'm happy to have you guys join this training. And in this class, you're going to learn a lot. And I guarantee you, in 4 months, you will be something else. You know, you will be top notch IT professionals. So, on my qualifications, I'm a Linux engineer and I'm also a cloud engineer. So, what do I mean? I mean, I'm certified as a Red Hat systems administrator. That is a Linux certification. And on the cloud side, I have two certifications. I have the AWS Certified Solutions Architect Associate and the AWS Certified DevOps Engineer. You might not know what those certifications mean right now, but in a couple of weeks or maybe by tomorrow, I will break everything down to you. So that is a little bit about me. So I will pass the torch over to Kingsley to introduce himself because he's also the co-trainer, and also Charles. So right now I do work as a Linux engineer and also as a cloud engineer. So in my current role, I support both Google Cloud and Amazon Cloud, and I also work as a Linux engineer. So I do have two jobs, all working from home. This is my office space right here. I never leave this space. And right now, I can say I'm happy. I'm happy in life. I mean, life is not all about money, but at least I've worked my way to a place where I feel it is good. And the whole purpose of this class is to take you guys to that level. Some of you guys might be businessmen, even making twice uh, as what I'm making. It never hurts to make extra money, right? So everyone is coming to this program not just because you need more money or things are not going well for you. It could just be that, hey, you want to try something else or you want to add to the stack of cash you already have. So, and which is what we're gonna do here. And with that said, I will pass the torch to Kingsley, and Kingsley will introduce himself and say a few things about himself. And after that, Charles is going to take over. So, Kingsley, go ahead.
Hi everyone. I know some of you here already know me. You've seen me around. I don't know if some of you are from Boston and stuff like that. I live in Massachusetts, Boston. I'm also into IT. I also studied Linux admin and then Windows administration. And I'm originally from Cameroon, same as Jared. We all started together. Me and Jared started together in the same school. Came out as Linux admins. But I decided to go to Windows side, so he decided to go to Linux side. So I'm more into like the Windows administration. I studied Windows administration. Right now, I work as a Windows admin, as an IT engineer for another company which is here in Boston. And I also live in Massachusetts, even though Gerard has left me. He moved he moved to Texas. But that being said, I've been in the IT career my whole life. Never done another job. Moving from Cameroon, coming here, that was my main focus already. So I didn't like I was no more like in the nursing, as Gerard said he was in the nursing before he switches. Don't get people wrong, but I mean that's a good switch. If you want to decide to do something else, go ahead, push it forward, and give yourself always going. So I decided to go myself the route that I decided something which is comfortable for me, and this is where I landed, and I'm here right now. I work as a Windows admin right now for my company. I've been there for almost a year and a half right now, and I'm also going to be taking you guys on the Windows side of the Windows side of the training. What else can I say about myself that I'm forgetting? Uh, let's think. I mean, that's pretty much it. If you have any question, I mean, along the lines to ask on my background, on anything else, I'm right here. Don't. I also know I'm a Linux too, but I'm not in the Linux side right now. But Gerard also is in the Linux side. Is more into the Linux side, but I'm in the Windows side. But I also studied Linux, so it's not that I don't know Linux at all. I know both, but I decided to go to Windows side. So that's pretty much it for me. Thank you guys.
Gerard, should I go ahead?
Yeah, you can go ahead.
All right. Yeah, my name is Charles. My last name is Subi, Suubi. Originally, I came from East Africa, and most of my friends, surprisingly, are from West Africa. I love being around people who think in fast forward and who like to get things done. So, uh, your company or my company has determined where I am right now. So I work as a Linux engineer, as a Linux admin, and also as an SRE, site reliability engineer. And I've been doing that for it's coming to about 4 years right now. And surprisingly, Gerard mentored me about about 4 years ago. I wasn't in a good place. I was in a place where I was making like maybe $10 an hour, and at the same time I was driving Uber and trying to learn Linux and IT administration. And I used to buzz up Gerard's phone every time. And I think that's one thing I would encourage each one of you. The person that's going to succeed is a person who's not going to be sit back and relax and wait out for people to reach out to you. You have to be a go-getter. You have to want it. You have to be willing to wake up at 4 a.m., put in the time. After that, go do whatever you do to sustain you as you work toward your goal. So that is what is going to help you succeed. So I'm going to be taking gaze now on the networking side of things. I'm a Linux admin, but also do have networking experience from the environment that I work in right now. I do work in a small company on one of my roles, on my jobs. So I do everything from setting up users, introducing them to the domain, all the way to working in a data center and buying servers, making sure those servers have access to the network. So I basically do everything from zero to setting up users and setting up the entire IT infrastructure. So I think we're going to have fun. The mentality that I want you guys to have is learning and not, if you have questions, ask as many questions as you want, and also, have that hunger and thirst to learn more and more. And I think during our first class, we shall talk about success tips, like what do you really need in order to succeed in this, in this new venture that you're taking on. All that I can tell you is when you put in the time, 6 months from now, 1 year from now, maybe 1.5 years from now, your life won't remain the same because IT gigs are everywhere. You have to just have the skills and you should be able to land yourself a gig. And I think, Gerard, that's it for now from me.
Thanks, thanks very, very much, Charles. And just to add a little bit on what Charles said, I mean, when I look at Charles today, I'm so proud. Charles is an example of a success story. He used to call me all the time and say, Gerald, I have a bachelor's degree, but I left what I was doing and decided to do IT. And my entire family thought I was crazy. And they labeled me as an example of failure. And Gerald, you got to help me make this thing happen. It needs to happen. I mean, I saw the energy and determination the guy brought, and I was just amazed. He used to call me every single day.
Yeah, I'm like, okay,
Like,
I'm going for an interview. What should I do? Let's
Gerald, I'm
practice a
going for
little
an
bit.
interview. Can you mentor me? Can we go through the questions? Um, there will be times when I would just come home, I'm trying to relax, I'm tired. You call me and say, Gerald, what did you do at work today? Can you tell me some of the problems you solved at work today? Can you walk me through? I'm like, you haven't even gotten the job yet. You're trying to find out what I'm doing at work. It's like, yes, what do I study next? He finished his Linux, finished Windows networking. He was still looking for a job. The job wasn't coming. He said, Gerard, what should I do next? I said, you can start doing AWS for the time being. He jumped on AWS and started doing AWS, got through the AWS, got the certification. And as soon as he finished the AWS, he landed his first job. And he's been doing that for almost 2 years now. And recently, I think he just landed a second job, 130K. Congrats, Mr. Charles. I'm still waiting for my champagne.
It's coming. It's
So
coming.
he holds two jobs now, and he is a high earner in the 200s. So that is just the goal of this class. It's gonna be project based, and we're gonna push you guys. At the same time, we're gonna be very, very respectful, and we're gonna go by your strength. But at the same time, you gotta also catch up because we cannot afford to slow down the class because someone is not doing their job. At the same time, we will do everything we can to support you. And you guys just need to come with the same energy that we, the trainers, are bringing. So, in a nutshell, the class is going to be very, very interactive. It's going to be very, very, we want you guys to come to class and feel free. Uh,
Lively.
yeah, we want the class to be lively. We want the class to be interactive. We want everyone to feel at home and transform yourself into a critical thinker. A lot of people come into IT and they study IT, and at the end of the training, they are like, I finished that training, I haven't gotten the job yet. So today, we're not really going to do much. Kingsley might touch on a few topics before we leave today, but today I'll just talk on the strategy, and I'll also talk about tips of success and also tips to watch against failure and what you need to do to succeed in this class. Okay. So, but before we go into that, uh, I will let everyone to introduce themselves so we get to know each other, because we right now are a family, and this is how it's gonna be. We're gonna be there supporting each other. At some point, I'm gonna separate you. We're gonna separate you guys into groups, and you guys are gonna be working in different groups. So this is the beginning of a long-lasting relationship, because Jonathan might be the first to have a job today, and in his company there is an opening, and he calls Jude and say, "Hey, Jude, we have an opening here. Please send in your resume. I'm going to back you up," because of the relationships that we build in class. So keeping the relationship is very, very important for us. So I'm going to give everyone the opportunity to introduce themselves and tell us a little bit about yourself, and tell us why you joined the program. So let's start with Mr. Bismarck. Go ahead, introduce yourself. And Bismarck, go ahead. You are muted. Can you unmute yourself?
It
Okay.
looks like he froze. His camera is froze for some reason. I don't know.
Let's see. No, I see him moving. Bismarck, can you hear us? Give me a wave if you can hear me. Yes, you need to unmute your mic and speak. So, yes, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead. So since it's taking a little bit of time, can you guys hear me?
So, I think he unmuted himself. Bismarck, just go ahead. I think. Oh, we can't still hear you. I think he might have a mic issue. Um, Emeka, you can go ahead.
Morning, everybody. My name is Emeka Echibiri. I live in Houston, Texas. I'm an associate. Well, I indirectly met Jared through a mutual friend. So he told me about what he's doing, and I've been interested in IT for a very long time. So I just wanted to at least see what it's all about, and then just go from there. Um, you know, the way the world is going to, we're all going towards IT, especially what coronavirus taught us, is that you need to have some type of knowledge for IT. And I believe that's, you know, we have a new normal. And so that's why I'm here.
Thank you, Mr. Emeka. Cesar, you can go ahead.
Good morning, everybody, or good
Morning.
afternoon, or wherever you locate yourself. My name is Cesar Bila, currently in San Antonio, Texas, and I work as a nurse right now. But due to coronavirus, I've come across a lot of people that are in the IT field, so it's kind of like an eye opener. I compare like what they're doing with what I do. It's kind of like I'm in a different America. So I was like, okay, let me just go ahead and give it a try and then see how it goes. So I don't have much to say right now, but as time goes on, you know, we'll interact more. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Bila. We can move to Mr. Jarvis.
Yeah, my name is Jarvis Fonga, and I'm currently in Sweden. So good morning to some of you, and it's good evening for us because we have a rich time difference. I currently work in Sweden with education, so I'm a teacher. But recently I had some interesting discussions with a business analyst in California on LinkedIn, and she told me about what IT is doing that way in the US. Of course, it's the same thing for us here in Sweden. So I made that decision to get into the IT field. I began a little bit earlier with some other qualifications, like the agile qualifications. I did some studies, and I saw that it could be more interesting. And as while reading those books, I discovered that AWS and of cloud is the future. So I'm really hoping that the story will change and hoping to get a lot of inspiration from this course. So nice to meet you all and hope we have a great time. Thank you.
Thank you. I think Mr. Jonathan stepped out for a bit. He said he's going to be right back. We're going to move over to Mr. Jude.
Hey, hi guys. My name is Jude from Boston. I currently work for a solar energy company as a project manager. So I've known Gerard for a while. I'm from Boston, Kingsley as well. So Gerard left us, as Kingsley said. So, but we stayed together. So I was so impressed with what Gerard put together, and I've been always trying since last year to join this class, but because of my schedule was so tight, I couldn't make it. And I decided this year that I'm going to squeeze time, because when you want to do something, you got to dedicate time for it. So it's something that I want to learn fresh. So I don't want to be considered like I know something already in the field. So I want to learn every single thing, as a fresh, student. So Linux and AWS, as we all know, is the future. So cloud. So I'm here to learn every single thing. And Gerard knows I'm going to piss him off with calls.
Thank God it's just Gerard, not me.
All right, we're going to go to Mrs. Faith.
Hi, my name is Faith Erwan Nukem. I'm from Africa, but I live in Boston, Massachusetts. I'm actually in the healthcare field, but I have a degree in computer science from Africa. So first of all, I was thinking of going for a boot camp where I could go learn some coding and all of that stuff. But I was thinking of the fee. The fee was quite high. So I just needed something that I could use to get into the IT field. And I spoke to a mutual friend of Jared, who introduced me to Jared and said he was the best in town, where I could, first of all, I could start with Linux and AWS, and that can get me into the field of IT. But I'm still looking into the future and see if I can branch off into coding with time. Hopefully, if I find cloud worth it, then I'll continue. But then maybe I can get over there sometime soon.
Wow, that's excellent.
I mean, I'll
Guys,
tell you,
we have a lady challenging us in class. So...
I know. I'll tell you good luck. I'll tell you good luck with the coding, because I tried Java as well. I used to do Java from Premium State, so it was a tough route. If you're ready for it, I'm not gonna tell you give you like a 10 off speech, but if you want to do something, if you know you're really passionate for it, go ahead for it. Me, I'm not really. I'll honestly speak to you guys. I'm not really good in mathematics, because when it comes to coding and scripting, you have to be a good mathematician, because everything that you do in the coding, it has to do with maths. So if you're good in that, go ahead, move forward with it. I mean, that's a great idea you have in your mind. Go ahead for it. I'll honestly, like, behind your back, like, go ahead.
Thank God you're here, so I'll bug you more than Jared.
Oh no, I just put myself into trouble.
Exactly. Charles is in Boston too, so all the traffic from Boston should be going to the people in Boston.
Don't start.
So thank you, Faith. We're going to talk to Mr. Bama. Can you unmute? Mr. Bama, you can unmute yourself and speak. Can you hear me, sir?
Yeah, I think he's still on mute. I just sent him a request, like, ask to unmute, but he has to click on, like, it should show a notification on his screen to unmute you. So just click on the notification.
Mr. Bama. Okay. So I think we should move to the next person if he's not ready. And just to be more professional, who asks respectfully that everyone have their names in their Zoom and on their Slack channel. Like we have one person right now, Wonder Woman. I
I know. I
don't
was
know
just
who the
about to ask
person
that.
is, and so Wonder Woman, if you're there, please try to update with your real name, and then if you can switch on your camera so the class know who you are and get to see you, it's gonna be nice, and then you can talk to us.
Okay. Let me try to actually veteran boomer. Let me try to put the camera.
Okay. And you'll be surprised Wonder Woman is actually a man.
There's a Wonder Man.
Yeah, I know who it is. It's a buddy of mine, Bertrand.
Oh.
So if you just click on start video at the extreme end on the left side, bottom left.
It's on. It shows it's on.
Yeah, it might be your camera has a security, like one of those privacy screen on it. You probably want to push it left or right or something.
Yeah, true.
So push the privacy screen off. That's why it's on, but it's just blocked. Like mine, it can be off. I can turn it off like that. I can put it on. It's just a privacy protection screen somewhere on the camera itself.
Yeah.
Anyway, you can go ahead and talk to the class. It's fine.
Yeah. My name is Bertrand Boomer. I live in Dallas, Texas. I'm really not much a good talker, but I'm a Scrum Master. I work with Amazon's as a process assistant, sorry. Actually, I got encouraged more by, I normally call him GK. He's my schoolmate. He used to be my senior in school though. He encouraged me to join the class, and I was actually wanting to do it. I've been struggling by myself, but it wasn't possible to do that by myself. So I had the chance to talk with him once more again, and I look forward to work together with the group, and so we can achieve a greater height in everything we want to do. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Bertrand. Ola, are you there? You can introduce yourself.
Yes, definitely. Sorry guys, my camera is actually out of commission permanently, so to say. So
okay, I'm on now.
It's a long story. I'm trying to get a new laptop, so hopefully when that comes in, I'll be able to turn on my camera. Quick short introduction of myself. I see a lot of us are in Texas, so Boston guys have been overshadowed by the Texas crew. Just saying. I've been in IT for a little bit, more as a Scrum Master. I don't really know much. As a Scrum Master, you don't really know IT. You just basically facilitate. So it doesn't really count for me. I like to look at what's the next big thing going on in the industry, to constantly remain relevant, so that there are no surprises that will catch you off guard. And the next biggest thing is cloud computing. I was introduced to Gerald by a mutual friend of mine. She actually told me about Gerald about 6 months back. And I spoke with him last month. In fact, I was hoping that this class could start a little earlier than this, but he said he had to spend time with the students to make sure that everybody is okay before he starts a new class, which is a very good thing. And then, of course, when this class was about to start, he sent me all the necessary materials after all said and done. And what I've seen with the curriculum has actually been very impressive. And I told him as much. So I'm hoping that not just with the class, but even after class, we are able to remain connected with everybody. I know Jarvis is in Sweden, which is very nice. can finally meet someone outside of the US and UK. So that's a plus for me. I think that's about everything for me. Back to you guys.
Thank you, Mr. Allah. Mr. Bama, if you can talk now, you can unmute your mic and speak. Bamadu, you can talk now. Barry, you need to unmute yourself. If you look at the bottom left, you click on the mute, it's going to unmute you. Yes, bottom left, click on the microphone, it's going to unmute. Yes, go ahead now. Yeah.
Okay, my name is Mahmoud Bari. I live in Rhode Island. He's a friend of my Adome is a businessman. He told me about the IT, and he present me one of your students, Biden or Biden, something like that.
Biden,
so,
yeah.
Yeah, I spoke to him. He was very nice with me. He gave me all the connection, and they give me Gerald number, which I talk to almost every day. He is the one who actually encouraged me for this field. So now I decide to go for it as well.
Thank you, Mr. Barry. Ebenezer, if you're there, you can talk to us. Ebenezer, are you there? Okay, it seems he's not there. So what we're gonna do next, I'm gonna just give you a walk around our Slack channel so everyone knows where to find what. So I'm just gonna share my screen real quick. So here is our Slack channel, and Slack is gonna be our primary means of communication. And I want to encourage all of you to pay close attention to what is happening in Slack. First things first, download Slack and install on your cell phones so you get the messages directly. You don't need to come sit on your computer. So like I have Slack on my phone. So, and the good thing is we use Slack at work. Both jobs I work for, we use Slack. So I could be out there in a supermarket and my boss sends me a message on Slack. I can check on my phone and I respond right away. You know, I don't need to come sit in front of my computer to respond. So the whole purpose of this is training you guys how to start using work applications. So Slack is used in most companies for internal chat. Internal chat means within the company. You know, all the employees within the company will be on Slack. At some point, I'll share my company Slack channel with you guys briefly just to see how it is. But it is the same thing we have here. So all the employees in the company, say 50 people, say 100 people, you're all on Slack. And anyone can send a message to anyone. So if I put a message here, if I want to send a message to everybody, right? For example, I come to general, and if I'm sending a message for everyone to get, I'm going to start with the @ sign. And when I type @ look at what it says, notify everyone in this channel. So when I click on that, it's going to say @ channel. So if I say welcome, and I send, everyone is gonna get it. You see, using our channel pings everybody in the channel. So if I send that, everyone is gonna get it. And I know everyone has gotten it. So learning how to use Slack is very, very important, because in your company you're going to be working for in the future, you can come across Slack. You can come across Microsoft Teams. You can come across Rocket Chat. There are a lot of other internal chat platforms that you can use. But we use chat in my company, and a lot of companies out there use chat, Slack. So I want you guys to get comfortable with Slack. And the number one principle of using Slack is responding. If I put a message in here, guys, don't just read the message and don't say anything. Because at work, when your boss sends you a message, you have to respond. You cannot just look at the message and tell your boss later, yes, I saw it, but no response came from you. That is already shooting yourself in the leg. So we've developed this training and building in such a way that we're teaching you what is happening at work. That is what this training is all about, beginning from communicating within your work environment. So guys, each time I put a message here, right, or a team member puts a message, it could be Kingsley, it could be Charles, it could be Bertrand, it could be Jude. You put a message here, it could just be a question. I expect everyone to respond to that message. Even if you don't have anything to say, you can just give a thumbs up just to make the person know that you saw the message. You can just do a thumbs up, you can do a like, but you need to respond. I'm training you to learn this because it is a habit that you need to incorporate, because you have to do that at work. Like I said, your boss can send a message here. You can see the message and you say, okay, I saw it, and you don't respond. That is trouble you're causing for yourself. So learning how to respond to Slack messages is very, very important. And it's a critical skill at work. So from time to time, you will be checking your Slack, you have it on your phone, and download it on your computer too, and have another one on your phone. It's still gonna be the same. So each time I send a message, or Kingsley sends a message, or Charles sends a message, it comes directly and you see it, you can respond to it. And that's how we're gonna be communicating in class. Secondly, I'm gonna walk you through the different channels you see here. The first one is the assignments channel. So we're gonna be dropping assignments in here. So when we put an assignment, it's gonna be in this folder. It's a Google Drive link. So when Kingsley, Charles, or myself, we upload an assignment, come to the assignments channel, you click there, and then you're gonna click on this link. And when you click on this link, it's gonna open in Google Drive. And the assignment is gonna be somewhere in here, right? Right now, there's nothing in it. So we haven't put anything here. There's no homework here. So that's how it's gonna be. You click here, you're gonna find the assignment here.
And another thing, just not just to cut you short, Gerald, while you're still there, just to run you guys through, when you're doing your assignment, when you're in the Google Drive, you can always click on you see the dot. Gerald, just click on the dot, please, since you're the one sharing. When you go back here, the dots up top right.
Here.
The dots to get them the edit them form. No, up here, all the way next to your name, next to settings. Right there, top left, sorry. Top right. Yep, go up. Next one. Yep, that one. So if you click right there, you're gonna see where it says if you scroll down a little bit more.
Drive?
No, just scroll down. You see where it says document. So if you click on document, just click there. It's gonna open you another portal. You can click on new. You see where it says blank? Click on blank. So it's gonna open you like a whole brand new page. And one side, like if you see here on the browser, you have one side where it says your assignment. Then this is where now you can answer your assignment right here, save it back on the Google Drive. That's how we're gonna get it, just to walk you guys through.
Thank you so much, sir.
Yep.
So the next channel right here is class access. And this is where the Zoom link is gonna permanently be. I believe I've sent the Zoom link for class to everybody, but in case you lose it and you're trying to join class, just come here, you click here, and you scroll up a little bit, and this is the link right here, and you click right here to join the class. That is it. The third channel is general. Here, it is where you put your questions. If you have anything that is troubling you, any question you have, anything that you're not clear about, just anything, but please make it IT related. We're not gonna come here and we're sharing fun stuff, things that are unrelated to what we're doing. So come to general. You have a question. If you want to send a question to me, Gerald, you can always do the @Gerald. You can start with the @ and then you type my name, Gerald, and you click, and it's gonna come to me, right? Or you can do the you add Kingsley or to @Charles, anyone you want to send the message to. If you want to send to the entire channel, just do a channel and you put it there, and we're gonna respond. One thing we promise you in this class is quick responses. Quick responses. If you have a question, put it on my Slack channel, or if you don't want to put it in a channel so everyone can see it, you can come find me right here. Just come and click on my name here and Slack me directly. I'm still gonna get it. And the next channel right here is gonna be the notes and videos. So if you click right here and you scroll up, so all the notes for Windows are gonna live here. You see Windows notes, they're gonna live here. All the class videos are gonna be in this folder. So every single class is recorded. This class right now is being recorded. At the end of the class, we're gonna upload the class video in here. So you can come at any time and watch it while you are doing your studies. So the videos are always gonna be there, always gonna be available. If you miss a class, let me know you're not gonna be in class, but the video is gonna be here. Come back, watch the video, catch up. You don't need to call me and say, Gerard, I wasn't in class today, please send me the video. Just come here, the video is gonna be here. And we're gonna arrange them in an order. So it's gonna be week 1, video 1, week 2, we're gonna be week 1, video 1, week 1, video 2, since we are doing Saturdays and Sundays. So the video 1 is gonna be the Saturday video and the video 2 is gonna be the Sunday video. Same for week 2, week 3, week 4, all the way till the end of the class. And then this other link right here is gonna be for your class projects. So if I tell you, I've put together a project, come here, it's gonna be in the class projects folder. You click here, it's gonna take you to Google Drive and you can find it there. And when we do start Linux, there's gonna be another link here for the Linux notes. But right now, I haven't created that because we're starting with Windows and networking. Okay. And then we have another channel here, random. This is where you can post your random stuff, non-IT related stuff. If you just want to say hi to people, if you just want to put something that is, for example, you come across something that is motivational and you want to share with the class, you can put it there. Or you come across some IT news out there, or some IT news that is breaking out there, you copy the link, you can drop it here for people to read and just be current about what is happening to the IT world. And the whiteboards is just gonna be for the tutors. So I don't think any of you will be able to access the whiteboards. It will just be for Kingsley, myself, and Charles. The other channels, you all will be able to access. And that is it. And within here, you can actually call somebody. Like if I want to call Emeka, for example, I can click on Emeka and I click call. If he has Slack on his phone, he's gonna ring right on his phone and he's gonna talk to me. And if Emeka likes to edit his profile, he can put in his picture here. At work, you're gonna have your picture here, and then you're also gonna have something. You're gonna write something about you, and you also, I think his email is here. If he can also put his private phone number in here if he likes. But if he doesn't want to do that, I can just click call and I'll be able to call him. That is, if he has Slack on his phone, it's still going to call him if Slack is on his computer. And that's how you can call each other. That's how you can call me. And when you are on Slack, please make sure you are online. You see the green button right here? These are people that are online. Jonathan is offline. That's why it's kind of blank here, you know. So when you're online, it's green. When you're offline, it's not green. So
It's grayed out.
please, yeah, so it's grayed out. So please, when you're online, always make people know you're online. If you are not sure how to do it, I'll show you. You just click right here. I think I'm offline too. And you come to set yourself active and you click there. And see, it's gonna change. Now it's green. I'm online. And to go back on offline, you're just gonna come here, set yourself away, and you click on that, and it's gonna take you offline. So that is that, active and away. And that is that with Slack, unless there is any question from anyone.
Hey, Jared, let's add another channel for jobs. Like, if there are any job descriptions out there that you can always put here, let's have another channel where we can put jobs. And if someone thinks they're ready, they get to apply for that job, and we can always go through our lessons based on maybe like a job description and the skills that are being asked for.
Good suggestion, Charles. Get this out of the way.
Yeah, I think we can add that later.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah,
we can do it later.
We shall add that later, yeah.
So is everyone all set with the Slack? Any other questions?
I have a question regarding Slack.
Say that again.
I said I have a question regarding Slack.
Yeah, go ahead, please.
So is it a fee-based type of app, or can I just download it and put it on my phone?
You can just download it and put it straight on your phone.
So it's like WhatsApp.
Yes.
It's it's pretty much like if you're familiar with Microsoft Teams. So it's pretty much like Microsoft Teams. So you can download it on your phone, you can have it on your computer, same as WhatsApp. So it's like it's a platform where you exchange messages, like, you know, go back and forth, like, you know, share ideas, chat with your friends, colleagues, and stuff like that. So that's it's like a platform. Yeah, it's like a platform which is like basically like WhatsApp. You can make calls, you can chat with each other. So it's pretty much like that.
Yeah.
And when it comes to security for it, how good is the security for it?
Okay, so your messages within Slack are encrypted. And there is a free version of Slack and there is an enterprise version, right? So, and what distinguishes the two is the amount of users that you're gonna have on Slack. So if you start hitting like 100 users and up, then you're gonna sign up for the enterprise version that comes with many other, in terms of capability, it comes with many other features. But if you're having less than 100 users, it is free. You can set it up and you do wonderful things with it. So like I said, we use Slack in my company and I love it. There are a lot of things you can do with Slack. You can integrate it with Gmail. You can integrate it with Microsoft Office. You can integrate it with so many things. You can integrate it such that if you get an email, it notifies you in Slack. You know, if someone sends you a junk mail or something, it lets you know in Slack. If someone sends you, it might be Yahoo Mail, might be Google Mail, whatever. You can set it up such that you get a Slack message. that you just got a message in your email box. So Slack is very, very powerful. I'll be showing you more features on Slack over time as we continue to play along with it.
Okay.
So you've learned one thing today. In an interview, if you get the question like, what internal chat system do you use for internal communication in your company? What are you going to say?
Slack or Teams.
It cannot be Slack or Teams. It can be either Slack and Teams or Slack. So
Slack
when you say
itself.
Slack or Teams, it's like you are not sure. In an environment, at work, there's always going to be some stability. It cannot be like either or, right?
There should be one.
Yeah, there should be one. It's when you say Slack or Teams, it's like if I'm the interviewer, I will know you're not sure about what you're talking about. It already gives me the impression you are not working, because if you are using Slack, you're using Slack. You cannot be using Slack or Teams. So you either go with Slack or just go with Teams, right? Yeah, so we've learned one thing today. So any other question regarding Slack?
And just to add to that, Mr. Chair, so there's more also too. It's not just Slack and Teams. There's also WebEx. There's Java. There's Jabra. It's called Jabra, Jabber. It's called Jabra. It's a platform tool where people use to in companies. My company, actually, we used to use Jabra and we used to use WebEx, but we switched during the pandemic, and then things were going, like everything was going remote. So we switched from all that into Microsoft Teams, because the price wise, it was cheaper to get it, because since it's incorporated with Office 365. So we had to switch into that and get the more for like a cheaper price, because we're paying a lot of money for WebEx and Jabra. Because with those ones too, you can see do it's almost same like Slack. So there's so many other like platform out there that you can use for like internal chats in your company too. You can always tell them later. You can always tell them that too, but always make sure you know exactly a name of one that you are sure of to answer. Because they ask like, okay, as Jera said, like, oh, what internal chat system do you guys use? Stick with one. If it's something that you know professionally well, stick with like, okay, I know WebEx, I know Teams. We use Teams in my company. I've used Teams before. I know Slack. We've used Slack in my company every day for chats, exchange messages, links, share ideas, job opportunities and stuff like that. Always try stick with one. Don't say either or, because when you say either or now, they'll look at you as if you're doubting yourself, or maybe you just pick a random question.
Okay. Yep. So one thing we're going to be learning in this class too is interview prep, and teach you guys how to answer questions in interviews. So I understand we are just starting today. A lot of things we don't yet know, but we'll go through the process of answering questions during interviews. But we're going to learn that as the class goes along. So today, I know it's a lot of information, but we need all this. But from tomorrow, it's going to be a marathon. We're just going to keep going, and we're just going to keep rolling. So bear with us today to give you guys all the information that you guys need. Everything we're giving you today is very, very necessary. So one thing too, I just want to notify you on, in order to make the class more professional and respect others, when you're not talking, have yourself muted, because at times a lot of background noise comes in if you don't mute yourself. So always make sure you're muted. And if you want to answer a question, you can unmute yourself and answer the question. Or if you feel like you want to say something, you can always unmute yourself and speak. But while you're not saying anything, you're not speaking, please have yourself muted so we don't have any background noise interrupting the class. And also, please, one thing you want to do in this class is to respect time. The class is 3 hours, from 10 Eastern to 1 Eastern, right? So for
it's
those
12 Eastern,
yeah, for those that are Central Time is 9 to 12 p.m., 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. So we want to make the class 3 hours. So we want to be respectful of people's time. So that means we start on time so we can all leave on time. And starting on time means the class starts at 10. We'll start allowing people in class at 8:45. That's 15 minutes before the class starts, so that at 10 we're starting. We don't want to start accepting people in class at 10 because it can take 15 minutes for everybody to join, right? We don't want to do that. So at least come to class 10 minutes early, join 10 minutes early so we can start on time. And so I can also dispatch you guys on time. I don't want to keep anyone above because you guys have all planned. Your days are all planned out and you guys have different things you're doing. So let's come to class on time, 10 or 15 minutes before so we can leave on time. And with that said, the next thing I'm going to talk about is, before I go back to Kingsley, I'm going to talk about,
I want to give them a rundown of the syllabus too.
yes, we're going to come to that. But maybe we do that right now. You want to take on that, Kingsley?
I mean, you can, yeah, I can do that. Let me just get it up and running.
Okay.
I can show
So
them how to do.
While he's pulling that up, we can talk about path to success and path to failure. What you're gonna do to succeed in this class, what you're gonna do to fail in this class. So I'll let Charles start talking about that and then I'll jump in at some point.
All right, hey guys. So it all starts with your mindset, really. The kind of mindset that you do have will determine whether you're going to succeed or not. And if you have chosen to make this decision, then you have to be 100% into it. When I started off, so I'll talk about success in regard to my personal experience and what I went through. So when you're starting off and you're telling people that within 6 months I'm going to be earning 120,000, they will laugh at you. I think right now I'm laughing at myself because that's what I told myself when I was starting off. I look back and I don't know how I convinced myself, but somehow you need to convince yourself that within 4 months, within 5 months, within 6 months, you're going to be earning a 6-figure income. And I say that by the time I was earning 21,000, I think, every year, driving Uber, and when I've done all the taxes, all the repairs, and all that stuff. I know some of you drive Uber, or you've heard of someone who drives Uber. You claim to have all these exemptions from taxes, but at the end of the day, when you go down to what your net earning is, you're like, okay, I'm making maybe 30K every year. So I told myself within 6 months, I want to be earning at least 100K. And I would advise you to share that with people who believe in you, share it with people who are like-minded, share it with people who have the same goal. Because if someone came and told me they're going into business and they want to be earning $1 million every year, I would say, how possible is that? So one, set your goal. What do you want? Based on the IT horizon, like the earning scale in the IT industry. What do you want to be earning? Because right now I do my boss, I won't talk about my income, but let me talk about my boss, who is my media supervisor. I didn't know how much he earns till recently. This guy just brings in 320K every year. That is before his 10% bonus that everyone in the company receives. So I make almost half of that. But when you get to know how much people in the IT industry really make, you're like, wow. Now, like our CTO brings in like 1.5 every year. So it's all about what is your goal? Where do you want to see yourself? You're starting off at 100K, but maybe in 5 years, where do you want to see yourself? So one, set your goals. That's one of the things that I will tell you to do. And then to get organized. Being organized is very important. Just like Kingsley pointed out, that document that he told you how to submit homeworks, have such a document where you can put your notes. Now, you are IT admins. You can't be using notepads and using a pen and a paper. That is how you used to do things before, but right now, be comfortable having a notepad that saves you all your work to the cloud. So that's how you're going to be doing things in the company. Either you have Jira Cloud where you do your documentation of the tickets that have been, all the work that you've done. You'll learn about ticketing later in the course, but all the work that you do, get a way of documenting it, because later on you're going to be referring to those notes that you've taken. You don't want to be going around the house. Maybe the dog ate my homework, the dog did something, the cat tore up all my papers. No, you are IT admins right now, and you are going to be professional. Whether you like it or not, you have to learn to be professional. So set goals. That's the first thing. Set your goals. Set a realistic goal. 100K is not a bad goal, or 90K is not a bad goal, or 80K going upward. That is not a bad goal for the next 6 months. But you have to get organized. And then the other thing is hard work and dedication. Put in the time. Let me just edit my notes here on the screen. Put in the time. What makes you think that I will trust you with 100K as my IT admin? What are you bringing on board? What value are you bringing to the company? So if you're saying I have to give you 100K, that is a small percent, less than 20%, I think, of the US population make that amount of money. So what makes you think I'm going to trust you with 100K every year as my IT admin? So you have to put in the work and you have to be dedicated. I used to wake up at 3 a.m. I want to start doing it again because I have new goals right now. Wake up at 3 a.m., put in the work, put in the 4 hours. If you have kids, as soon as they go to bed at maybe 8 p.m., put in the time from 8 to midnight. And then after that, sleep till morning. 6 hours is enough for you. But you need to sacrifice. If you don't sacrifice, if you're not willing to put in the work, then it will take you longer to catch up to where you need to be comfortable in the field and to apply for a job within the 6 months. So make sure you put in the hard work, and make sure you put in the dedication, and make sure you are consistent. You don't want to be practicing something today and after 1 week you're going back and like, okay, what's that command? IP config or IF config or IH config? You need to put in the work on a consistent basis. So if you tell yourself, for instance, that I'm going to put in 3 hours every day, make it 3 hours every day. Don't make it 8 hours today, and after that you wait for another week, and after 1 week you put in 8 hours. It's better if you put 1.5 hours every day for 7 days instead of doing 8 hours today and then waiting a week and then putting another 8 hours. So the learning process is like the more you repeat something, the better you'll become at it. So the more you go on the command line and do the practice, the better you become at performing those commands, the better you become at going around the systems and knowing how systems work. So hard work, dedication, and consistency is the other thing. And then be excellent and brilliant at basics. Everything starts with the basics. And that's where we're going to start from. Don't take the first introductory classes for granted. That's going to be the foundation upon which you're going to build your entire career for the next 5 years, 10 years, or however long you're going to be in the field. And that's what one of my managers told me, the senior reliability engineer, where this guy is amazing at what he does. He's a Pakistani guy. And he told me, be brilliant at the basics. The basics are kind of like the foundation that you are laying for your entire IT career. So you need to lay that foundation, and you need to have a solid foundation, because in order to know how the entire system works, you need to know the small things like how the ping command works. So when I'm trying to get this system A to talk to system B, what are the foundations? What are the basics on how those two systems work? So that is going to go on and help you do things like troubleshooting. So in most cases, you'll get a ticket and then someone is telling you, hey, I'm trying to set up my computer, but I'm trying to talk to computer B, but computer B is not responding. What should I do? So if you have your basics down, you have the appropriate questions to ask this person. So be brilliant at the basics and learn the basics well, and then know where to go for help. One, we do have a Slack channel. make sure you know how to use that Slack channel to ask questions. And then there are other online resources like Stack Overflow, I think, is one of them.
Yep.
Yeah, so know where to go when you need help, like which online resources are trustworthy to use when you want to go for help. There are some other places where you'll be swung in 100 different directions and you'll get out frustrated, more frustrated than you went in for the answers. So, and then the other basic thing is be fluid and agile on the keyboard. So this is one of the things that I experienced about 4 years ago when I was starting out. I was not comfortable on the keyboard. Now typing your name, you're like, okay, where is C? Where is C? C is here. Okay, where is H? If you're taking like 10 seconds to just write out your name on the keyboard, get a simple program. There are simple programs that kindergarten kids use to learn how to write or to type. I know it may be funny right now, but it will save you a lot of headache. If you're writing out maybe a letter, maybe you're writing on a Slack channel, maybe you're writing out a message and it's taking you 5 minutes to just type out to a paragraph, that is not acceptable. You need to.
Well, let me just say something real quick, Charles. Just think
sure.
of a situation where you are the new IT engineer that your company just hired, and then your boss is walking down the aisle next to your cubicle, and you're doing this. Just imagine what's gonna happen. You're trying to hit on the keyboard, you're trying to type, and you're doing this. Just imagine what's gonna happen.
And guys, just to add to that too, actually, you don't necessarily need to have to do what Gerard is saying. There are so many shortcuts that you can get yourself throughout, like the keyboards, without even like have to type everything. We're gonna learn all those procedures, like all the shortcuts on stuff on keyboards that you can get yourself through it without have to type it. Like you have to be like, because I know some people, when they see some people doing the hands like this, you think that damn, that person can do a lot. There's so many shortcuts when it comes to an IT field. There's so many shortcuts that you can do that you won't even be in that consistency to like type everything. But there's sometimes you necessarily have to type. Yeah. But there's some that you don't really necessarily have to, because you have shortcuts that can bring you to that page in no time. And that's the thing that we need in IT field, because when you're an IT engineer, when you go to somebody's computer, you don't want to be there all day. You have like, maybe let's say you have 5 to 6 tickets that you have to attend to. You have to be consistent, and accuracy has to, it's another thing. You have to be very, very, very accurate on what you're doing. Before you even get to somebody, you should know already, like, okay, you read the person's ticket. You understand what the issue is. Do a little bit of research on the back before you even get to the person.
Yeah.
Do a little research. Yeah, do a little research. You can use Google. You can do your own troubleshooting by yourself. Like, okay, you try your own troubleshooting steps first by yourself. Then now you use Google. If you still can't get it, go to your boss now. Because one thing, when you go to your boss, he's going to start interviewing you as there when you get there. He's going to ask you, okay, what have you done? What have you done your researches first to get to this, to solve this problem?
And it's the same. We're gonna apply the same concept in this class, because like I said, we're teaching you what is happening in the work environment. If you bring a question to me on Slack, or you call me and say, Gerald, I'm building up this server and it's not working the way you showed me in class, the first thing I'm gonna ask you is, what have you done to fix it? Have you done any research? Have you gone to Google? Have you tried to fix it? Or you are just saying, it's not working, Gerald, fix it. I'm not gonna do that. So we're gonna train you guys to be proactive. Tell me this is what I've done, this is what I've done, this is what I've done, and it's failed. Then I'll tell that, okay, this is what you need to do. Don't just tell me I was following what you did in class and it didn't work. I'm like, okay, so because it didn't work, have you done any research? Have you gone online to find anything to fix it? Because it's the same at work. Before I take something to my boss, I have to tell him, hey, boss, this is what I've done, this is what I've done, this is what I've done. All these things I've done is failed. So tell me what to do next before he's gonna attend to you. Yeah, so it's gonna be the same concept. So Charles, so what we're doing today, it might seem boring, guys, but there is a structure to every training. I've gone into trainings where first day people come and they dive into the material and they keep going.
That's a wrong move.
2 weeks from the start, students are confused. We're not gonna do that here. We want to build the foundation. And what we're doing today is very, very important. It might just seem like a lot of talking, but 3 weeks from now, you understand the importance of what we're saying. Because when we come to the structure of the course, Kingsley is going to take us through soon. We're going to start with the Windows and networking and desktop support. That is to build the underground and underlying IT skills, right? After 5 weeks of training, you guys are going to be ready to start applying for desktop support and Windows admin jobs after 5 weeks. 5 weeks. So
four, not even up to 5.
4, yeah, sorry,
Yeah.
4. So
Yeah, if
after
you're putting the
4
work
weeks
and study, yeah.
After 4 weeks, you'd have learned networking knowledge, you'd have had Windows knowledge, and you'd have had desktop support knowledge. We're gonna build your resume for those that want to start applying for Windows admin jobs. You'll be ready. And while we're doing that, we're gonna start Linux, and Linux is gonna go for 2 months, right? When we're done with Linux, you can add the Linux on your resume, and you start applying for Linux jobs before we start AWS. That's how it's gonna be. So we've had situations where people have had jobs along the way and they're like, hey, that's it for me. I was making $10 an hour, now I'm making $40 an hour. The course is not even over and they're like, I'm done. $40 was their dream. But in this class, our dream is, even if it's $100 an hour, we want to shoot up. We want to go all the way to the end, So that's going to be the
120.
structure of the course. So
120 minimum.
some of the things we're saying today is key, because we're not going to come to some of the things we're saying today again, So if you want to take down little notes while we're saying all these things, please do. But the video is going to be there. If you want to come back and watch it again, fine. But please take down notes if you can. Just jot a few things that we're saying today. It's very, very important, this process. So Charles, if you have anything to...
Yeah, let me finish off just 3 more points. Communication, I think, Gerard, you already talked about this about the Slack. Communication, you need to learn to communicate and expose yourself more to IT material and reading IT related material. Because you can't use words like this thing is not communicating to the other thing. When you're implying this computer or this server is not communicating to server A, is not communicating to server B. So get into the habit of, getting used to the IT jargon and the words we're going to be using. You're going to be learning those in class, but at the same time, now invest in your IT, invest in some, IT resources that you can go online, go to YouTube and listen to some videos, listen to the words that they're using. Because when you're in an interview and you start speaking about your experience and what you have done, you need to know the IT language. You're not going to be using the casual English that you've been using. So get used to the IT language, like maybe things like configuration, system configurations. Instead of maybe saying the way this thing looks, or you use words like the way it's configured. So get used to learn the IT language, and the more you read about it, the more you read documentation, IT documentation, the more you're going to expose yourself, even in addition to what we're going to be teaching you in class. So I talked about hands-on and repetition. That is key. And then also, getting a mentor. The reason why I was able to get the gig that I got about 3 years ago is because I bothered Gerard. Even when he was tired, I shot him a message. I waited for his call. I recorded the phone calls that we had and listened to them over and over and over again. Use all the resources you have. The mentor may not be an actual person, but maybe someone on YouTube that you follow. And you're following their success, you're following what they did to get to where they are. Like I was once at 1, now I'm at 4, and this is what I did. So get someone who is going to be encouraging you, because at some point you feel like this is hard, I cannot go on. At some point you're going to feel frustrated. I went through almost 30 interviews before I landed my gig. 30. And some of those interviews are going to be tough. One time I did an interview with Amazon Web Services. That was before I got any gig as a systems engineer. That thing was the toughest. It was 3 years ago, but I still remember it right today. because it is the toughest interview I've ever had in the IT field. They dug deep into how every system works. They went from what I knew to things about system configurations, to things about threading, about computer CPUs and how they work, to the details. So I didn't have that much knowledge, but after that interview, I told myself, I'm not going to be embarrassed like this again. I went back again and just went deeper into how systems work, and I just got to prepare myself better. So yeah, get someone who will mentor you, get someone who will encourage you, because it's not going to be roses down the road. It's going to be, the roses with the thorns in there. Some things will give you a hard time, but you have to repeatedly fail, 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 and bounce back. Each time you fail, you bounce back. Each time you fail, you bounce back. And that's how you're going to get better, because IT is a it's not like any other field. IT, the more you fail, the better the more you learn. If everything is going on well and you're not getting any issues along the way, you should challenge yourself more. So I think, yeah, that's what I think that's all that I had to talk about.
And just to add to that last part that Charles said, like each time when you guys start going to an interview, there's one key thing that you gotta always take note of it. Have a little notebook and a pen. As the interviewer is asking you a question, take the question down. Even if you don't get the job, use those questions that you answered or you were not able to answer during the interview as a means of elevating yourself to wherever you want to go. Because I for one to I've gone to interviews. I went to an interview where it was just a crazy stuff. Just one thing that made me didn't even get the job. Just because they asked me, okay, if your Wi-Fi is off. That is when I just started going to interviews. It might sound like a dumb thing, but that was just one question. They said, okay, if your Wi-Fi and your laptop is off, what are you gonna do to turn that Wi-Fi on? I could not answer it. But I mean, if I was somebody that wanted to let myself down, I would have been like, okay, I'm done about this. I'm done. I'm not gonna go for no interview anymore. But instead, I used that question. I came back home, I sat on it, I went to my computer, go on Google, I searched it, read about it, and it was something that I already knew. But just because I was tense at that moment, I could not answer it.
Yeah.
So always take note down to give you that elevation. Because after you come from the interview, even if you don't get the job, sit there and go through those questions that you went for the interview. The next one might be the lucky one.
Exactly.
That's how it is.
So what I used to do is I downloaded a phone recording app and I stored on my phone. As soon as I walked in to start my interview, I turned the recording on my phone, voice recorder, and I just put it in front of me. And it records everything. The interviewer doesn't know that I'm recording the call, right? And I used to come and after every interview, I would send to Charles, and Charles used to do the same thing too. He will record his interviews and then he will send to me and he will say, Gerard, go through the interview, tell me where it didn't work. And I would say, oh God, how can you miss a simple question like this? You just, and that's what he did. He'll play the voice notes over and over. The questions that he got wrong, he will research, actually write them down, and do a rehearsal. So next time he goes for an interview, if he gets any of those questions, come on, he just aces them. So those are techniques that we're going to be practicing as we go along. So Charles, thank you for talking about the tips to success. Let me talk about tips to failure, because it is very important as well. Guys, pay attention. This is what is going to happen in this class. As we go along, this is what is going to happen. The class is going to keep growing and shrinking. You will notice that. It will keep growing and shrinking. There are some people that are going to join the class along the line. I've talked to people that are interested only in Linux and AWS, and they don't want to take this introductory part, which I kind of feel like they are missing a lot. It's fine. People will join along the way. But along the way, a lot of people are also going to drop out for various reasons. The last session, we started with a class of 15, we ended with 8. And let me tell you the various reasons why people fall along the way. One, Laxity. What do I mean by laxity? Okay, we have a class on Saturday, we have another class on Sunday. After the class on Sunday, they shut down their laptop and they touch their laptop again next week, Saturday, before class. That's what happens. Do that 3 weeks in a row, you've fallen 3 weeks behind and you're done. No matter how you start bugging me, you're done basically, because I'll be preaching to you and things will not be making sense to you, right? So I'm going to ask you this question, if you guys want. So what we did in the last session to curb and provide a solution to that problem is on Wednesday, we instituted a class that is non-mandatory. It's not a mandatory class, but it's on Wednesday for 1 hour from 8 to 9 p.m. So for those who are in Central Time, is gonna be 7 p.m. Last session we had 2 people that were in Ghana, attending the class. So they had to wake up like I think 3 a.m. Ghanaian time to attend that 1 hour session. But it's not a mandatory session. And during that session, we're not going to teach anything new because it's going to be unfair to those who are not in class. However, we're going to be talking about the things that we studied last week, right? And we're going to take questions and we're going to teach you a lot of techniques. Like you're gonna learn new stuff, but not on the syllabus. I can share with you something that I did at work that day that's gonna benefit you. So a lot of students used to come for that class, which kind of helped them because they acquired a lot and they learned a lot, So, and it kind of helped curb that distraction that, hey, people are keeping their work until next week because on Wednesday there's a session that will bring you in just to refresh you if there was some distraction. It brings you back into the whole thing. So you guys tell me if you guys want. I still think it's a good idea for those who want to make it. If you don't want to make it, fine. But I think I'm still gonna go ahead and do it. There are Wednesdays that I come and I sit here by myself. My co-trainer comes and we talk, just 2 of us, until the 1 hour is done and then we leave. But there are days that we come and the class is packed. The class is packed and we're supposed to talk for 1 hour. We end up talking for 2 hours because the students don't want to let us go. And we're like, hey, we have other things to do. I'm like, no, please explain this, please explain that, explain this, So I think we're going to go ahead and do that. But again, like we said, it's not a mandatory session and we're not going to teach anything new. We're going to be talking about the things we did the previous week and we're going to be going through questions and answers and doing some project work and teaching you troubleshooting skills. So laxity will cause failure. And I've seen it happen a lot in this class. The second thing that will cause you to fail in this class is not being disciplined. Right now, you can look at this as a crash course, but it's not really a crash course. Because just imagine we're trying to take something that is being covered in 4 years, a degree program, and we're trying to squeeze it for it to be done in 6 months. I mean, we're not going to do everything. We're going to do just the stuff that you need to get a job.
The loopholes. They call it the loopholes.
The other stuff you can take your time and learn when you have time. But the to knows, as I call them, is what we're going to be going over in this class, the to knows, So if you just look at it, it's a crash course. Well, when I have time, when I don't have time, that's another path to failure. You fail. The third thing is planning and time management. All of us have different schedules, right? All of us work. Some of us, we have family, we have kids, we have businesses to run and all that. It can be very, very distracting. But in the midst of all that, you still need to find and create time. I tell my students, please, no matter how hectic and tireful your days, give 1 hour for this program, 1 hour a day. You can say your weekends are just to attend the class. Weekends you're not going to study, that's fine. If you do 1 hour Monday all the way to Friday, that's 5 hours you've given that week. At least 5 hours. And if you do that, there is no way I say no way you're gonna face a problem in this class. Some people do it the opposite. Some people say Sunday will be my day to study because a lot of things don't happen on Sunday. Sunday is a boring day. And they go all week without studying, and then they want to come on Sunday and do 5 hours. I think it's possible to sit and do 1 hour and leave, or rather than trying to sit there to do 5 hours, right? Within 5 hours, I would say you can study at most 45 minutes, and then you go to your phone, and then someone sends you a message, and the distraction starts. And you realize that you've been there for 5 hours and you've studied like an hour and a half. You don't want to do that. And the last thing I'll talk about is your phone. Your phone is going to end up being your biggest distraction when it comes to studies. So please, when it's study time, if you say you are studying for 2 hours, put your phone on mute, put it far away. Because if your phone is next to you, WhatsApp messages coming, calls coming, friends calling, you want to see this, you're not going to study. You're just going to end up wasting time. So put your phone away, plan, and be time conscious and disciplined. The most important thing is tenacity. Don't give up. Giving up is not an option. And I tell you guys, it's going to get hard. It's going to get difficult. It's going to get difficult. We're going to start running commands here. You're going to look at, oh, maybe this is jargon. I've never seen things like this. But please, giving up is not an option, because everyone here is capable of handling the work. And I'm confident that you guys are going to be a success. But let distractions go. If you need to alter your schedule around, please do it. If you're somebody that likes to go out, for me, when I was doing this thing, using myself as an example, for almost a year, people didn't know I existed. Like, I cut off from everything.
I can vouch for that.
Yes, I cut off from everything. I just used to wake up, stay at home, study and study and study and study. The only thing I was doing is to study. On Sundays, I go to church. After church, I come back and I study. That's it. That was my life. A lot of my friends used to call me, oh, we don't see you anymore at parties. We're hanging out. Where are you? You don't come out. You're the anti-social guy. I'm like, I'm working on something right now. And until it happens, you're not going to see me out there. Once in a while, I'll go out there and have fun. But the way I used to do it, I cut down on that dramatically, because I needed to invest that time on something else that's going to pay off in the future. Right now, I can go anywhere I want and I enjoy, because I put in the hard work. So please, I know you guys will be busy with family, kids, businesses to run, all that, but make the time. It cannot just be any time. Come up with a schedule. This is my study time, and be focused and maintain the schedule. So thanks for listening to all this jargon I'm saying, but it's really going to pay off. So the last thing we'll do, so our classes are 3 hours. After an hour and a half, we'll take a break for 10 minutes, right? So I think it's even break time. I should allow you guys to take a 10 minutes break, and we'll come back after 10 minutes. And please, the discipline is going to start from today. When we say break is 10 minutes, we're going to see those. Some people are going to be gone for 20 minutes. Some people are going to go and they don't even come back. So we're going to start testing the discipline today. So break is 10 minutes. Usually what I do during break, I share my screen like this. And then I go to Google and I put in the timer, the countdown clock, and I put 10 minutes. Yep. And then I hit start, and then it starts counting down. When it hits 0, it alarms, and you'll be able to hear it from your end, which means you have to come back.
And that's another thing, like just what Gerard did right now. I was about to say another thing just to add to his point about like the consistency of keeping yourself being proactive. If you have I know most of you guys here have a Gmail account, and in that Gmail account you have a calendar. You can always set a calendar of your time or schedule, like if you want to study every day for 1 hour, that if you have trouble setting that, you can always ask us. We'll show you how to do it. Because I never knew it until when I learned about it either too myself. Like you set a calendar there, it always gives you a notification that okay, it's time for study. Even if you don't, as he said there, you're busy with family and stuff. If you want to study, like it notify you like okay, in 10 minutes time, you gotta start studying. It's up to you now to pick and choose like okay, I want to study today or not. But if you set that calendar there, it's always gonna remind you like it's a reminder, just to keep it up.
Okay. So we're gonna take a 10 minutes break. When we come back, Kingsley is gonna take us through the syllabus, and then he's gonna cover some topics today, what he wants us to do today to start the class.
I don't think that
we're
will
gonna be done.
I don't think that will be possible, Jared, because what time was supposed to end today? It's already 11:40, so I don't know what time. We can start tomorrow, but I'll just give them a rundown of what is gonna go.
Yeah, the class is 3 hours from 10 to 1. So,
oh, okay.
Yeah, so no matter how you decide how you want to handle it.
That's okay. If it's 10 to 1, I'm
yeah,
good.
we still have time. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so we'll take a 10 minutes break. And when we come back, Kingsley is going to present to us the course syllabus, the layout, and what he has for us today in terms of what we'll be studying. So guys, we'll see in 10 minutes. Any other question? Any worries, any concerns, anything you want to clarify, just let me know.
Jerry, I think you have to give me my permission to share because
you are a co-host. You're a co-host, you'll be able to share.
Oh, okay. Oh, there we go. Let's see. What should we start? Introduction. All right, I'll share this one screen first. This is just basically basically the rundown of the course, what we're gonna be doing beginning today and throughout the couple of months that we're gonna be together. And we're gonna start with the introductory part, which is gonna be with me. I'm gonna take you guys through all the way down filing systems and print sharing. And then Charles, as I believe Charles is gonna take us through networking, and I'm still gonna help out. Not like actually I'm gonna be like not just there at all, but I'm gonna take you guys all the way down to file system and print sharing. Charles is gonna take you guys through networks, and we're gonna still be back and forth, share ideas as we've always done beginning today, even with Jared as well too. So we're gonna go through virtualization in all the way. These are all like the Windows part that I'm giving you guys right now. So this is all Windows part all the way down where you have Windows Server Active Directory. This is all Windows. This has nothing to do with like the Linux side or cloud side, AWS side. So starting from where we have Linux, the Red Hat CentOS and Ubuntu, that's what we're gonna start doing Linux, which is gonna be covered by Gerard, and with the help of me and Charles too as well, because we're gonna be as his backbone, but he's gonna be like the main person ahead of it. I don't know if I'm scrolling too fast, but you guys let me know if I'm scrolling too fast for you guys to see down. But I know we're gonna send you guys a brochure of everything that we're sharing with you guys today, just to see so you have it on your site too as well. Cloud-based is still gonna be Gerard too as well. DevOps, Gerard still as well. This is pretty much gonna be the whole course for the months that we're gonna be together. So this is pretty much rundown. But today, let me go back up top. Today we're gonna start with introduction. I'm just gonna let me uncheck the screen for a second. Stop sharing. I'm gonna share. One second, guys. Just gotta pull up. Okay. So today we're just gonna start with the minor basics and stuff of like, I know some of you guys here are familiar with computing and you know how a computer works and all that stuff. But that is not like the main aim that we're starting. That's not the main goal that we're starting here today. We're starting you all guys from the basics. It does not matter. It might look to you like something very childish, or maybe taking you back to like the computer science 101, but it still does not matter, because we're trying to build a foundation here. As we earlier said, we're trying to build a foundation for everybody, no matter if you already have the idea about it or you still doesn't have the idea about it, because we consider everybody here as a novice. Novice being what? That you don't know nothing at all.
Exact.
So that is what we're starting right now. So we're starting with computer science 101, as I call it. That's how they call it in university. Actually, right now, we're going to start first of all, what is IT? IT, first of all, is the terminology for IT is information technology. And you can say that is pretty much clear, open and clear. It is a use of a computer storage, network, and other physical devices, infrastructure, processes to create processes, store and secure an exchange of electronic information. That being said, going by the definition of IT is a general term of like you getting yourself involved in the electronic war as we are today, because technology every day is evolving. Everything nowadays we use electronics, your cell phone, computer, hospital, whatever job you own, doesn't matter. Even if you're a mechanic, you still use a camera at your job, which require a computer to store all those data. You require a computer to store all that information. So that's pretty much a rundown
Kingsley,
of, yes.
Kingsley, can you minimize the page? Let me ask a question real quick.
Yep. Don't worry about my
Just
screen.
minimize your page. Minimize the page you're sharing. Okay.
Yeah,
so
stop sharing.
The question I want to ask is, and okay, one thing we'll be doing in this class is we'll be challenging each other, but the whole point is not to put anyone on the spot, but to challenge ourselves and learn better. So you'll find me doing this a lot. I'll be calling you by name and asking you questions, right?
Yep.
So don't feel like I'm putting you on the spot. I'll just do it randomly. Like I'll pick anybody at any time, just to make the class interactive and make everybody involved, because I don't want a specific person or a specific group of people to be
Just
the ones
talking.
answering questions in class, right? So the first question I'm gonna ask in class today is, what is a computer? And I will have Mr. Cesar answer that question. What is a computer? I mean, one thing in this class, there is no wrong answer. Anything you have in mind, say it. If you're wrong, we'll correct you. So don't be scared to say what you know, because that's how you learn. Don't be scared. Don't feel like you're gonna say an answer, I'm gonna laugh at you. No,
we're not here to
there
judge
is no
nobody.
wrong answer in class, please. So go by your own definition, what you feel like. Don't Google stuff. Just try to explain by what you think it is. So Cesar, that question is for you. Yeah, still muted. Okay, yeah. Go ahead.
A computer, as I all know from the basic, is just like a machine used to process information, store and share information remotely or in person.
Excellent. Good answer. Bertrand, what do you think? Unmute yourself, please.
Yeah, I think it's a device meant to store data, variable informations, and to process, used in communication, process. I think I'll stop there.
Good attempt. Good attempt. That's excellent. Jude, do you have anything to contribute?
Oh yeah, I think a computer is it's a device used to exchange information, store data, and a form of communication as well.
Okay. Anyone has anything to add? Jarvis?
Computer is also an electronic device which you can use to put in inputs, like you give it commands for it to carry out functions.
Excellent. I love that answer. Faith, anything to add?
Oh, computer, like everyone said, it's used in storing information, processing data. It's basically used for a wide range of tasks to produce outputs.
Excellent, excellent. So I'm glad we all know what the computer is, and we can say one or two things about the computer. You know, so Kingsley, you can take over. That's fine.
Thanks, Jared. So, let me see, share back my screen here. One second, just trying to find which one to share. Opening the wrong things. All right. All right. As we all said, a computer is an electronic device, as you guys all answer, and all your answers are right. Just so you know, all your answers are very true. It's an electronic device that shares information, communicates, process, and store data. That's pretty much what a computer is. And now we have various types of computers that we can go through. We have supercomputers. We have mainframes, data centers. They are all computers. They're all electronic devices, which are still all computers that store information. Difference between them is that the regular ones that we use, that's just a regular PC, which is still a computer. The supercomputers are the ones that carries on, we call them servers because it runs on the back end. And those ones, they run on high, very, very, very high speeds. That's what they run on. They run on very, very, very high speed. And now we're gonna go into, we have the OS. OS, which stands for operating systems, and the type of OS that we have. We also have operating systems. One second, let me just share this. I'm gonna just keep doing this back and forth because I have different screens. I don't have an external screen right now set up, but I'll set that one later on that I can share multiple screens. Share again. So we have the OS. OS, which is the most important part of a computer. Like all computers that we buy nowadays in the market, it comes pre-built with an OS operating system. The operating system is like the backbone. It's the backbone of the computer, which runs all applications and all other softwares on the computer. So without an OS, without you having, I'm going to keep saying OS because I know you guys already know the definition of an OS, which stands for operating system. The OS of a computer is like a backbone of a computer that is the ones that gives you the access for you to input that data that we all talked about from the definition of a computer. That's what gives you the prompt of you to be able to input all that data, information, and store information also on that computer. So he's like the main man, the main person of that computer that runs everything. It's the backbone, we call it the backbone. It runs pretty much everything of a computer. Without an OS on the computer is worthless. It's nothing. It's like you just have a piece of metal. You just have a piece of metal sitting in your house. That's all you have. If you don't have an OS on a computer, that computer is worthless. So operating systems, we have different types of operating system. There are multiple types of operating system. And the most three important ones that we have nowadays that we use on every daily basis, we have the Windows operating system, which has a whole bunch of them. It starts from Windows 98, Windows 89, Windows Vista, Windows NT, Win 10, Win 7, Windows 8, and so on and so forth. Then also, we also have the Mac OS, which before it was called the OS, the OSI. Mac OS stands for just it is mostly based for Apple devices. That's an operating system that works just for Apple devices. The Windows operating systems, it works just on a Windows device, which is like our laptops. Pretty much a laptop which is made, let's say, made by Lenovo, HP, Dell, and so on, you can name it. But when it comes to an Apple device, they have a whole different operating systems which run on, but it's still an operating system too. It's pretty much a Mac OS. That's how it's called. And we also have the Linux operating system. We're going to get into that more detail because when Gerard starts teaching, you guys are going to learn more about the Linux operating system. Those are the most three bases that we know right now, but there are so many others out there that you can always do researches on them. But these three that I just named to you guys are the most important ones that we use on a daily basis. Like every system you have out here, it either has one of those threes. Either it has a Windows operating system, a Mac OS, or it has a Linux built on it. So those are the three systems you have. And some computers too, we have computers that can have all three systems on them. We're going to get more details into that as we go on with the course. You can have one computer that has all three operating systems on them by the means of different applications that we have nowadays.
I have a question.
Yes, go ahead.
Can you clarify what you said? You said Apple has many different operating systems?
No, Windows.
Yeah. Windows has many.
Yes.
Okay. So which
Windows has a different flavors of operating system. It starts from Windows 98 all the way down to Windows 10.
Like Windows have, you know, the way they release like new versions of iPhones, right? It's the same with the Windows operating system. Like they started from Windows 95, and then 2 years down the line, they reduced the, I think they came up with 98, and then Windows 2000, and then Windows Logon, Windows Vista, and then
so
Windows 7, Windows 8, and then I think right now they have Windows 10. Right. Those are the versions. But in terms of the operating system, you can have different, within Windows operating system, you can have the home edition. What we use at home right now is the Windows Home Edition. At the enterprise level, right? Enterprise level is like at work. You have the Pro Edition. My machine is a Windows 10 Pro Edition, which is more expensive than the Home Edition. So the Pro Edition means professional edition. It can do more work. It can process more data. It's more expensive. It has a bigger memory, bigger storage, you know. So these owners, Microsoft and other enterprises out there, they keep making tweaks over. It's just like Apple releasing different iPhones over the years and making more money. It's the same with Microsoft, Apple, and all the other guys. But the take home for you is an operating system is the main program that runs on a computer. Without an operating system, your computer is not going to work. Your operating system is the one that controls everything you do on your computer. When you push the power button on your computer, it is the operating system that makes things to run, to start up the computer, boot up the computer, and get to the point where you can start typing stuff and using the computer. It is the operating system working. So without an operating system, a computer is useless. You know, so the operating system controls memory, it controls storage, it controls your CPU,
or the hardware
on your machine,
software.
If a printer is connected to your computer, the operating system controls that. It allocates resources to the computer. So without the operating system, a computer is useless.
Correct. Thank you so much, Jared, for that. And as I earlier told you guys, we have the versions of different types of operating systems. Those are the main three that we use right now, that on a daily basis. But if you do more research, you're gonna find out that we have different types. In all these three, under these trees, we have different flavors of them too. There are multiple flavors, newer versions, and so on and so forth. We're gonna go into file system. I don't know if you guys have any question about operating system, just let me know. You can always stop me at any point. As I'm I can't get his name, even though he has just a K on his name, but I can pronounce it. I can say it. You're on mute.
Emeka, can you edit your name on the Zoom
Oh,
channel?
Emeka.
It's just K.
Yeah.
Oh, really? Okay, I apologize.
So
right.
as Emeka earlier asked, like you see how he stops me along the way. If you have any question, you can always stop me along the way during the process as we're going.
Is that fine?
Yeah, that's better now. Thank you so much, Emeka.
Yes, just excuse me, please. You have under types of operating systems, you have Mac operating systems or operating system X. What's that X for?
OS X. OS X is the older name. That's the older name that they used to call it before.
Okay.
So you can call it either OS X or you can call it Mac OS, because the newer version of the name now is called Mac OS. The older name was OS X.
Okay.
Because as they go, as things are evolving, that's how the names changes.
Okay.
Yeah. Just to clarify that.
Mr. Kingsley.
Yes, sir.
Now, each operating system, do they have a particular thing that they do? Because Mr. Gerald was saying that that's like, for example, Microsoft has the home and then
yes.
the pro, and then you have Mac OS, and then OS is OS was the old name. Now I'm looking at Linux. Now, is it some type of operating system, or do they all function the same way?
They don't all function the same way.
Okay.
Windows operating systems, it comes with what we call a GUI. Mac OS, that comes with a GUI too. GUI is like it's like what we see right now. You see the screen that I have right here that you can click with your mouse and stuff.
Okay.
That's a GUI. We call this a GUI in a IT terminology.
Can you spell it?
GUI is called GUI. It's just an abbreviation, GUI.
I think
but
it stands for graphical user interface.
Right.
Okay, graphical.
And then the terminology is just GUI, like GOOY, I think it's YS, something like that. That's just the terminology that the IT people use.
In a work environment,
right.
No one will say graphical user interface. They'll just say GUI.
Because it's very long, so to say it. So we call it GUI. That's what we use right now with Windows operating systems. Mac operating systems too, they do the same thing. They use a GUI platform. And also in Windows, we also have a non-GUI platform, which is called a command line. You can use a command line also to interface with your computer. But we're going to go more details into that later on as we go down through the course. We're going to get into those ones. But with Linux also comes in it comes in GUI form. You can do a Linux GUI form, or you can use a platform that does not have a GUI. The GUI is just a command prompt. It comes like a whole black screen. It's just a black screen where all you do is only input commands and it answer your question. You input commands, it answer your question. That's how the Linux system is. Most Linux admins, they prefer to use a Linux system without a GUI, because why? It does not allow, it runs faster and it serves your purpose faster. But with the GUI platform, it's a little bit slower, just for professionally wise and input data wise. We're gonna still go into that all more as we go down the topic. But for right now, we just do more of the introduction of what you guys gotta know about the operating system and stuff. But as we go into details, you guys are gonna still keep hearing these names coming back and forth along the line and during explanation and stuff like that. And now we're gonna go into file.
Questions?
Go ahead.
The Linux, does it work? Is there a specific Linux that works for Windows and then a specific one that works for Mac?
No, Linux is an operating system on its own. It does not work for Windows. It does not work for Mac. It's an operating system on its own.
And can it be used for Mac? And it can
you can install it on a Windows device. You can install it on like your laptop, but you require another application, like a third-party application for that Linux to run on your computer.
Okay,
let
me clarify your question, Faith.
Yeah.
So Windows is an operating system on its own.
Mm-hmm.
Mac is an operating system on its own, and Linux is an operating system on its own. However, you can do something called dual boot. Dual boot simply means you have your machine and you can boot your machine to Windows or you can boot it to Linux, which means your machine is shared with two operating systems, right? But in the real world, you're not gonna go buy any machine that has two operating systems installed on it.
Correct.
You can buy a Windows machine and then you bring the Windows machine at home and then you install Linux on it and do something called a dual boot. It means you're gonna be sharing resources on that machine. Part of the OS is gonna be installed in Linux or Mac, or part of the OS gets installed in Windows. So you're gonna be your underlying hardware, that is your memory, your CPU, and your storage, are gonna be shared between the two operating systems.
Correct.
That is not a good thing to do because it's gonna slow down your machine real bad.
Real bad.
You don't want to do that. So that's why a Windows machine will just come with Windows, a Linux machine will just come with Linux, and a Mac machine will just come with Mac. However, there are applications that you can install on your Windows machine, which we're gonna do. They call it a hypervisor. We'll come to that.
Yep.
So we'll do something called virtualization. We'll install the virtualization software, which is gonna be like a container. And then in the container, we can install the Linux in the container. So it doesn't share your underlying resources with your Windows operating system. It's just gonna stay in the container. That's how we're gonna work with Linux in this class, by using virtualization. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, it does. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else has a question?
Yeah,
I have a question.
I have a question.
All right, Emeka, hold on. Let him. Let the other person go first. Let's see.
Yeah. So, Kingsley. So, Gerard mentioned that with the Microsoft Windows,
Mm-hmm.
they have like the Pro version, the Home version, and the Pro version.
Yeah, there's more too. There's enterprise, and there's also there's more versions too that you have on the. It's not just home and a professional, a pro. Okay. There's enterprise version too. They're all different.
Okay. So is it the same also for Mac OS, or is just one version that we all use?
No, for Mac OS, it has just one version, but it has another it has different versions. There's High Sierra, there's Catalina, there's Mojave. There's so many Mac OS that it comes out every it's just like as we say with the Microsoft. Every year we're trying to evolve. They're trying to evolve every year with a newer version that can make things faster and easier for everybody. So same thing goes with Apple and Linux too. There's always going to be a new flavor. There's always going to be a new a version that's going to come out either from both of these three systems that we have right now. Those are the main. That's why I say those are the main three. It doesn't mean that those are the end of it. We have more operating systems and more versions of these three operating systems that comes out. So like the home edition is just a regular base home edition that comes on a regular laptop. But when you work with a company that has a Fortune company, let's say about 1,000 and something plus people, you probably want to use the Pro version or the Enterprise version because those comes with like extra different features. Okay, it's just like you going to a market to buy an iPhone. An iPhone, let's say you buy any phone or a device. They'll show you as it goes by prices. Let's say the cheaper that it gets, the lesser more information you get on that device. The expensive it gets, the more you get on that device. It's just same thing that goes with the operating system versions too. So the more the version goes higher, that's the more you get more and more information about like stuff, more features. There's more features that you use on there that you cannot see on the home edition. The Pro edition has a different features than a home edition. Same as the Enterprise version, it has different features than the Pro edition and than the home edition as well. So those are the difference. All of them have different features, but it's just a way of getting us to get to the most recent ones and keep everybody updated That's exactly what they do. Same goes with Mac too. That's why you see Mac has it started with I think it's High Sierra. They have Catalina, they have Mojave. There's so many more that they have. The older versions are outdated. They're coming up now with a new version because they're trying to keep everybody up to date and more faster devices. That's what they're doing. Does that answer your question?
Yes, please. Thank you.
You're welcome. Emeka, go ahead.
I just want a clarification.
Mm-hmm.
So you said that, excuse me, anything that is not GUI is a prompt.
It's a command. It's a command line.
Command prompt. Command.
Yes,
okay.
command prompt.
So Emeka, just take it like this. You have the GUI and you have the CLI.
Let me just show you one.
So the CLI is the command line interface, and then you have the GUI, which is the graphical user interface. You know, so GUI stands for graphical user interface, which is what you're seeing right now, using the mouse to click and move around. But with the command line interface, CLI or CLI, there is no mouse.
Can you see the black
so
screen?
You have to type commands and do, like, that's what we'll be doing in Linux. In Linux, it's not going to look as nice as this. All you're going to see is a black screen, and we're going to be typing commands. That's it.
Okay, so kind of like MySpace was in the old days.
Yes, or do you know about MS-DOS back then?
DOS,
Microsoft DOS, yes.
DOS.
Same
okay,
thing.
so like DOS, Okay, so just use DOS. Okay, I know what DOS is.
So this is a typical example of a DOS window prompt. This one, I don't know if you guys can see the black screen. Can you see this?
No. I think it came up and disappeared.
I just got to share right here. So this black screen that you see right here, that's a DOS Windows. Here I can type commands and stuff. I could do, let me just say, if I do like, that's just that. You see how it reacts? I can do clear, which is just CLS. It clears everything. I can do exit, and it's gone away. So that's pretty much, that's a command prompt. But same as you doing that, you can do the same thing too on a Windows. On this command, this one right here, you can click, right click. The same thing that you're just sending a command. You can right click, you can click, do whatever you want to do. Just same procedure that goes with a DOS Windows. But it's just that with that one, some people like to use that one, and some people like the GUI interface. Some people prefer the GUI interface. I, for one, I prefer the command line because it's something I deal with every day and it's faster for me. It responds to you very quick. And if you make an error, if you're somebody who's more into the IT field, as you guys are going to get to, you're going to understand that once you make an error, it tells you where the error is. But you just have to read within the line. As we say, there's going to be more reading. That's another thing too. You guys got to be ready to read.
So that's the reason why people use the command line make a lot of money than people who use the graphical user interface.
Correct.
Right? That's why someone who's a Linux engineer is going to make more money than someone who's a Windows engineer.
Correct.
Because Windows is easy. You can use your mouse and you can click here, you can click here, you can click here. But think of Linux, there's no mouse. Anything you want to do, you have to type a command.
You have to type a command.
Even just to open a file, you have to type a command. Just to close a file, you have to type a command. So you have to know all those commands. So it's impossible to have all of them in your head, but as you do it over and over, you become comfortable and you start memorizing them without even reading them anymore. So that's why if you are good with the command line, companies can pay you up to 150K, 200K. So each time you click, you use your mouse and you click on something, you are actually firing a command that you would have been doing it using the command line.
You're sending a command, yeah. You're sending a command.
That's what is happening in the background. Each time you click on something, you click on the file and it opens. You're actually telling the computer to run a command in the background to open that file.
All right, we're gonna go by another question tonight, as we always do. Let me see, who can I pick right now? Is Mr. Ebenezer there? Well, let's go Ola. Can you just give me like a brief definition of your own language? Like, I mean, your own understanding of what a file is?
I think a file is a document that we store on the computer. So it could be pictures, it could be documents like Microsoft Word documents and whatnot. That's stored on the computer and can be transferred to other devices, the phones and whatnot.
That's a beautiful. That's a great answer. Thank you so much, Mr. Ola.
No worries.
And let me see, Miss Faith. Can you just give me like an example of like a file that you know, like let's say 5 types that you know? As from briefly from Mr. Ola's definition, can you just give us like a brief understanding of like a 5 type that you know, if you've ever encountered one? If not, you're on mute.
Unmute yourself, please.
I said for me, I know files that used to store information. So, but for the types, I really don't know.
Kingsley, you're muted too.
Oh, sorry. Mr. Jarvis, can you help
Hear
us?
what I said?
Yes, I heard what you said. Thank you so much,
Okay.
Miss Faith. Jarvis, can you help us if you have any idea of like 5 types?
Yeah, for example, on my computer, I have a file for music, I have a file for pictures where I store my pictures, I have a file for documents where I store all my documents. So the type of files, yeah.
All right, I'll just go back to when I talk about like the 5 types, we mean like the way the file is stored. You can store a file as a text, you can store as a picture, you can store it as there's so many ways you can store a file. But I'm going to show you an example. I'm going to share my screen right now. I'm going to show you an example of a way for you to tell what the file type is. Just so you know, with a Windows platform. Let me share, just going to share my desktop. Which one? Let's see. Okay. This. All right. This is pretty much my desktop. This one right here, you guys can see it, right?
Yeah.
So pretty much here, this is a folder. That's not a file. This is a folder right here. These are all folders. So there's a difference between a folder and a file. If I open, let's say if I open this folder, can you guys see this? So these are all files in here, even though they are application, but they are all files. So easily for you to tell that this is or what kind of file type it is, you can you can switch towards the end here. It can show you right here. It tells you it's an application, but it's not going to tell you all the details. You can go back here and you right click on any of them. Right click, not left click. You right click on it, you're going to get a drop down menu. You can go to properties. When you go to properties, you click on properties, it's going to show you the full detail right here. And you can see here, this is the file type. You see what is in here? I don't know if you guys can see this. It says .exe. So that is the file type. It's a .exe file type, and I'm going to show you another one. Let's just go to a different one. These ones are all applications. Let me see if I can find like a text document. All right, let's go to pictures. So let's go to pictures. If I right click on this picture, same thing, properties. You see how it's changed here? Here in here, it says JPEG. It's .jpeg. So if you, let's say when you're working at your company and your boss asks you to save a TXT, which stands for a text file. It's a .txt file. It's not going to be in a JPEG. So automatically you have to understand that that's a TXT file is a text file which has to do with a document. If your boss says save in a JPEG, that means it's going to be in a photo. That's like a picture. And also it says save in a PNG, which is also another file a photo type way of saving picture. It's not just JPEG, because there's JPEG and there's PNG, which is another way of saving a photo. But TXT is mostly for text files. Let me see if I can find any text file in here. Okay.
So I have a question. So a file is basically an application then?
No, a file is a document.
A file is a document.
Yes, it's not an application. An application is an application on its own. Like you can see the difference here. Like you look, for example, this is an application right here. You see how it says application right there? This one does not say application. So there are two different. Application can be like it's like a software that you install. It's an application is like a, how can I put it? I'm trying to look for the most easy or layman term to put it on. Jared, can you help me with that?
What do you need?
Just explain the difference between like an application and a file.
So so the main difference will a file, you can look at a file in a layman's term.
Yeah.
It's just a text document, right, that you create. For example, it could be a picture. You can go to like Microsoft Word and you create a document, right? And you type in whatever you're doing and you save it. That's going to be a file, right? You can create a folder on your desktop. Kingsley, can you create a folder real quick on your desktop? Let me just show.
Let me show you guys how to do that. So to create a folder, you could just right click on an empty space. Just right click on there, go to new. You see where it says folder? You can create a folder from here. You can also create a text document. You see where it says text document? Yes. I can decide to create a text document or a folder.
Yeah.
You can do a shortcut no matter what. I'll do both. That's a text document. Let me just
create a text document and then create a folder, and then let's put the text document in the folder.
All right, let me just say F1. All right, that's the folder right there. Let me bring it down here so you guys can see it. And this is a text document. I'm just gonna rename it text1 right there. There's two ways you can put this text document in this folder. You can drag and drop, or you can right click, you can cut, you can copy. Let me decide to cut. Then I right click on this one and I paste. It's gonna move in there. I can still do it, drag and drop out here. It's gonna come out of it. So now it's back outside. There's nothing in here. Nothing pretty much in here. And I can drag and drop it in there. It's gone in there. So this is a text document. If I go to properties, as I told you guys earlier, you see how it says .txt? That's the file type. That's the file type right there, which says .txt. There's so many details that you can go more into it. Like you can see from here, it says the name of the file is text1.txt. The txt is just a file type. It's just giving you an extension. It's called an extension. But the type here, it says a text document. If I go right here, click on, this is on the folder right now. I'm not clicking no more on the file. I'm clicking now on the folder. If I open it right here, you see it. It says the type is a folder. Pretty much clean and clear. And with this folder, you can do so many things on this folder that we're still going to learn along the process going forward. We're going to learn as we go into more details. You can do so many things on this folder that block access, set permissions on that folder that nobody else will have access to it except you, whoever creates the folder.
Okay, I have another question. So I'm just gonna get a clarification. So when you were on showing us the file type and it says application, so application is what then?
So an application is just a simple software program that can be used to run any function. For instance, right now we do have things like Skype. We do have things like ThinkOrStream. So these are simple applications. You apply them to do something. So these right here are simple applications.
Google Chrome, the applications.
Is a web application or a browser application. So
like Slack is also an application. Like
correct.
Applications are made for users, right? They are made for end users to consume them to do something. So that's what an application is.
So
like you don't create an application if you are not a developer that you can actually write a code. but you can create a file, you can create a folder, and an application is already created by a developer, whoever coded the application.
Yep, it's a
And then it's
developer.
served
Yeah.
to you, and you are just ready to use it to do whatever you want to do with it, you know.
So these are some of the examples of like what I was talking about, like the file types. So we have like a PDF. PDF is something that we hear every day, like the PDF. We have the GIFT, which stands for graphical interchange format, graphics interface format. It's same almost like a picture. So you have JPEG, PNG, GIFT. Those are all picture formats. So if you see anything that has these first three labels on them, these first three, those are all picture format. PDF, that's when now you start considered to be a document. SVG, I know SVG should be another form of document, but I've never used that before. MP4, you can have MP4, you can have MP3, which is a movie. It can still be pictures, it can still be a video or anything. RTF, which stands for rich text format. Rich text format also is another way of like a text document. It can be, when you see that one, it can be a TXT or it can be RTF. Like as I went on the desktop, if you see here, when I was trying to create a folder. You see where it says rich text document? That's what the RTF means. So if I create this, it's gonna come out in a rich RTF form. But if I create this one, it's gonna come out in a text form, which is gonna be TXT. That's gonna be the file extension, which is the file type. So that's just pretty much the difference. But these two of them, they are similar to each other, but this one has more features that you can do in there. You can paste pictures and stuff like that more than the other one. This one you can just do the text document and stuff like that. And then now, I don't know, anybody has a question on files?
Senior Kingsley, one question, please.
Yes, sir.
Could you please pull up the screen of the notes?
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, so can you give me like an example of SVG, what file type that is?
That, I don't know. Gerard, do you have any idea of an SVG they've used before?
I know it's used for graphics, but I've never played with it.
Right, me either.
But you can always Google it and just look, just have a feel of what it looks like. But the important thing for you to know is there are some familiar file types that you come across every day,
right,
which are the ones that you need to pay attention, like the JPEG, the PNG,
GIFT,
and
PDF.
Yeah, PDF, and then the .txt. Those are the ones that you come across
mostly, yeah,
every day. You know, we all know MP3, MP4, things like that. You know, but you will not come across that at work. You know, at work you'll be dealing with JPEG, PNG, PDF, and TXT, things like that. So,
right,
but just for your knowledge, just know there is also an SVG. Personally, I've never played around with an SGV file. You know, SVG file, no. You know. So, but you can always Google it just to see what it looks like and just to have more information.
Thank you.
Any other question?
Can you please show us the rich text, please? I'm just out of curiosity, the rich text format. Can you create one?
Yeah, it's pretty easy. So it's same like a text document. It's pretty much same like a text document. So rich text, you just create. It's same like a file document, but when you open it, it comes out like a Word document. So this is pretty much an example of a rich text. Let me create a text document now. You see the difference.
Oh,
so if I create a text document, look at it, just watch the difference. So you see how this one looks. It has a form where you can it's just like a Word, Microsoft Word. Okay. It comes out like Microsoft Word. That you can play around with it. You can put in pictures. You can change the file format. I mean the text format. You can change the text size. You can bold. You can underline. You can change the alignment or alignment. You can also do like a table. It has table size and stuff when it reads text. Whereas with a text document,
can't do all those things. Okay.
Yes, text document comes out like this. You see the difference. So text document, you only have where you can just copy and paste a file in here. You can change the format of the file. You can view the file, you can edit it, but you cannot do all this with a rich text. So you see how the rich text is different. It has more options.
Okay.
So that's the difference. You can set in date and time, or insert. You can insert different objects. You can do more editing on a rich text more than a text document. With text document, it's just like pretty much you can just copy a document. Let's say you watch see a document on a Google. You copy it. You can paste it here. You can edit it. You can change the format, but you cannot do multiple stuff. You cannot add an image into it. You cannot incorporate. You cannot make it bold. You can make it bold with shortcuts, with the help of a shortcut, which we're gonna learn along the process. The process. Like I can type a text right now. I can just do that. I can bold it. It's not gonna bold. If I do bold, it's not bold because it doesn't have that feature. Whereas here, if I type a document right here, I can bold, I can underline, I can take out underline. Let me just highlight all of it. I can remove underline right there. I can bold it, I can unbold, I can make it to be slanting, italic as I call it, but it's making to like change the slant form. It's right now, see how it's slanty. But I can make it to be straight. If I take off this one, it's gonna be straight now. You see how it aligns back in straight format. So with rich text, you can do all that. It's just pretty much a way of you doing like an edit document if you don't have Microsoft Office on your computer. You can use that to like a platform, like an application, as we said earlier, to edit stuff. But with a regular text document, you cannot do that. All you can do is just copy paste. You can change the format of this text. You can word wrap it. You can just font. It'll give you fonts, which you can have the bold. That's when you go now, you have the bold and stuff in there. But whereas with rich text, everything is right there in front of you. So all you just do click, highlight, click, and do that stuff. So it has more features than a text document. That's just the difference.
I want to ask a question.
Yes.
On security, because when I had my Windows laptop initially, I had my Microsoft security in it, and I changed my laptop and I stopped the security because it was quite pricey. So I want to find out, is there cheaper security options aside Microsoft?
When you talk about security, what are you simply, if I understand you well, are you talking about like antivirus and stuff like that?
Yes, antivirus.
Yeah.
Yes.
So when it comes to IT terminology, when you talk about security, there's so many ways we can define security. First of all, let me correct you on that. Don't get me wrong, but it's just a correction.
That's fine.
Yeah. So if you're talking about like antivirus, you can get antivirus on your machine. There's so many antivirus out there that you can buy for cheap. It still run the same process, but there's some that are more expensive because they go like more in depth of like run a scan on your machine. But when you talk about security, you're talking like a whole generalized statement of like your whole computer. There's so many formulas you can do security on your computer, which we're still gonna see along the line too. We're gonna come to security, which is gonna clarify your doubts right now. So don't.
So what's the best antivirus for Windows?
There's so many out there. There's so many out there.
Because I was using Microsoft, but I stopped the payment.
There's so many out there. You have Norton, you have McAfee. You have
okay, I was using McAfee. Yeah, that's what I was using. But
you have Malwarebytes.
Pricey.
Yes, you have Malwarebytes.
Most of them are pricey. I mean,
I think what
you can do. Okay, I don't know how many people have antiviruses on their machine, but here's what we can do in this class to help us split the cost, right? If you are in class and you don't have an antivirus running on your machine, we could put money together, get it cheaper, and then get one license that like 5 or 6 people can use. So we can get the license for say $100, for example, with everyone chipping in $30. That's gonna give us like 5 licenses, other than one person spending $60 to go get the license for themselves. That's one way we can do it.
How long would that last? Is it a year
it's
duration?
Usually 1 year, yeah. In most cases, it's 1 year. But the higher the length of time, the higher the amount you also pay for the antivirus. But these people want to make money, so
It's
they'll
always a
let it
way, yeah.
expire after a year.
Hey, that's smart, man. We can do that.
At times I go on, I mean, I don't know if I'm supposed to share this, but I go
You
on.
can go on eBay too. You can also download crack versions
the
and
crack
things
version,
like that. You know,
it's usually cheaper, like $1
yeah.
or maybe $4.
So you can call me and we'll talk about it. I'll be able to help you with that.
All right.
Any question else before we move further?
Yeah, we have 13 minutes left.
I know, so I just want to run through. All right, so today we're just gonna end with these few ones. Pretty much we're gonna talk about like hardwares and softwares. So when we talk about hardwares, what do you guys understand by hardware? Let me see if I can pick out some people. Let's go back again to our normal procedure. Miss Faith, I'll come back to you again. Since you're the other lady within us, let's start with ladies before gentlemen. What do you understand by when it comes to like hardware? What do you think like hardware is like a simpler definition of your own form? You're on mute. Don't worry, I do that at work
I
too.
always forget that, sorry.
Don't worry, we all used to do it.
Yeah, for me, I know hardware, the physical part of computers that we could see, physical part of the components that we see. Yeah,
All right.
that's what I know about hardware.
All right, Mr. Cesar, can you give us an example of like some hardwares that you have idea of? If like ones that you know.
I thought about it like the heart of the computer or like the physical stuff, like how they call it, the hard drive, or that. That's how I look at it.
Okay, that's a good example. Mr. Bernard, do you know any other examples of like hardwares that you know, like hardware components? Following by Miss Faith.
Keyboard, the monitor, the mouse.
Okay, everyone got that right? And also, those are one of some of the physical components that we have as a hardware devices. There's so many hardware devices that connects with the computer too as well. We have the motherboards, which is like the main board of the computer. We have the hard drive, as he earlier said. There's memories, which we're gonna still get into that. We have physical components. Let me see if I have one around me here. I have an external hard drive right here. You guys can all see this, right? This is my portable hard drive. This is like my life right here. So this, I go everywhere with this. Even if I don't have a computer, if I have this with me, I'm very okay, because I have all my information stored on this. So these are all physical components which connect to a computer, and it's also a hardware that connects to a computer. It talks with the computer because it stores information and it also carries information. And for me to get to that communication with the computer and this my hard drive, I need a connector, which we're gonna get into that next class because we don't have too much time today. These are all like connectors that connects this guy and my computer. So you need this guy to connect this guy and my computer. So those are all like the physical components. We also have I know what I'm using right now, my headset. That's also a hardware. It connects to my computer to talk for you guys to hear when I speak. I have my mouse, which connects to my computer too. Keyboard, as Ella mentioned. We have my external cameras. We have there's so many peripheral devices that connects to your computer, which are all hardware devices. You can even connect a Bluetooth speaker. Those are all hardware stuff. And then can Mr. Maker, can you help us just give us a brief definition of like a software?
Yes. Microsoft Office is a software.
Okay. That makes sense.
Oh, a definition of a software? Okay,
yes.
Software is...
What do you understand by a software?
Earlier we mentioned that software is an application
right.
that you use to do something for the end user to accomplish a task.
So the reason why I ask you this question, because it goes back to your question. I ask you to answer the question because it goes back to your question earlier when you were talking about an application. So those are all softwares. Like all what you see on my desktop, these are all applications. These are all softwares. It helps me to connect to something else. It helps me.
Let me ask a question.
Go ahead.
So based on what he said, Kingsley just said, Bertrand, would you consider the operating system software or not?
Mr. Bertrand, can you hear us? You're on mute.
The operating system, I think I can consider that a software.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So that's another software. That's a good answer. And I was going to show you guys two like examples of software that we have.
I have a question. Yeah, if I understand that software is like help to bring life to the computer, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because with the software we have, we can do anything with it. This is a tool. In fact, tool can help bring life to the computer.
Okay.
If I understand, because the way you explain the definition of software.
Mm-hmm. So if not to cut you short, but if I understand your question, so you're trying to understand what is a software.
Yes.
From an operating system.
Mm-hmm.
So an operating system too is a software, because without that software, which is an operating system, we cannot be able to talk to each other like this. So that's a software, because it's something that you cannot touch with your physical hands. You need to install on a computer for it to give you that access for you to talk with somebody. This Zoom that we're using right now, that's a software. Anything you cannot touch with your physical hands, that is in this computer. That's a software. Because it's something you cannot, I'm just trying to put it in a layman term. It's something that you cannot touch with your hand. So that's a software in a computer. But anything other than that you can touch with your physical hands, like example I showed you from the hard drive, the mouse, the headpiece that I have on, those are all hardware. Those are hardware. So software is anything, is an application that you install on your computer for you to give you
all the information.
Yes. So example, these are all softwares. All this you see on here, like this, I have Pori right here. That's a software. It gives me an opportunity for me to talk to another computer using this software. I have Slack. Slack is a platform which is a software tool. It gives me the opportunity to talk to you and talk to somebody else. That's a software.
Okay.
We have Google Chrome. We have so many of them. WhatsApp, web, WinSCP. There's so many else. Internet Explorer and so on and so forth. Anything that you cannot touch, those are all softwares. Those are all software applications.
Thank you.
Yep.
And what you also need to understand is that the operating system, that is the OS, is the main software that is on the computer. Every other software is controlled by the OS, which is the main software.
Yeah, that's why we started. Yes.
You can have only one operating system on a computer, unless you are doing dual boot, like I said earlier, that you can have multiple, but you have one main software, which is the operating system. And then on the operating system, you can install other application software. Like Kingsley just said, you can install Google Chrome, you can install Slack. Those are other small softwares that you are installing on the main software, which is operating system. And the operating system controls all of them.
Yeah, that's why I earlier mentioned that the operating system is a backbone. So backbone is like just like your like the main person, as Gerard said. So he controls everything. Yeah. So without that operating system, you cannot install any other application on that computer.
Yeah. So if I give you a computer without anything on the computer, the first thing you have to install on the computer to make the computer work is the operating system.
Correct.
So when you install operating system, in our case, Windows 10, then we can boot up the computer. If you try booting up a computer, you push a power button and there is no operating system, the boot up is gonna fail. the computer is going to start up and there's going to tell you there's no operating system. So
Yeah, it will
the
give you
boot
an
up,
error message.
yeah, the boot up process cannot continue. It will just hang, or it's just going to shut down.
And all you're gonna see is just a black screen.
Yeah,
That's
you just see a black screen. But when there is an operating system, because your system does a check when you push the power button, and then it locates the operating system and starts the operating system, right? And when the operating system starts, then all other programs on the machine start. So if your operating system fail, your computer will fail for sure. You know, so if I give you a machine with no operating system, like a bare metal machine, in IT terminology, we use the term bare metal. Like there is nothing on it. Like I can give you a laptop. There's nothing on a laptop. The first thing you need to install on that laptop is your operating system. Then after installing your operating system, you can now install whatever application you like: Microsoft Word, Google Chrome, Slack, and so on and so forth.
Yeah, because the operating system, just to add to Gerard's point, the operating system has a simple definition to it. The operating system gives you the ability to talk with all your hardware devices. That's what the operating system does. So he connects your keyboard and your screen. He connects your mouse and your screen. He connects your hard drive and your screen. So that's what the operating system does to you. Like that's why they call it the backbone. So without an operating system, this computer is worthless, it's useless. Because you don't have nothing that is like a middleman that says, okay, let me take this message from this person and send it to this person. Because when you type on a keyboard, even though you see characters on this keyboard, all the computer takes is zeros and ones. So you need an operating system for it to help you translate that zeros and one into writings that we see nowadays.
So it's like our brain.
Yes. So it's like your brain. So you need your brain to function.
Yes.
So if the operating system is not on this computer, you're just like somebody that doesn't have a brain. So you're just standing there like empty-headed.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's I would say that's pretty much it for today. If you guys always have any other questions, feel free to put it on the Slack. You can always send questions on Slack. We'll always respond to you. Me, Gerard, or Charles will respond to you ASAP. If anything that you guys have an issue with, work related, even if after we're done with all this course and you guys are working, you guys got a job, you're still working with your company, you can always still reach out to us if you're facing difficulties at your job. Because I, for one, some days, ask Gerard, he's my weakness. When I have difficulties at something I'm doing at work, if I cannot figure it out, I don't just rush to Google first. I first of all try to solve the problem myself. If I cannot, I reach out to him as my colleague. Even though he works with a different company, he might have an idea of that. They say 2 heads are better than 1. So sometimes your brain may be fed up. You need somebody else's brain to help you function. Exactly. And that's what I do at work.
I mean, I do that all the time, like all week, like this week that just ended, I've been talking to Charles all week.
Yeah.
And we're trying to help him solve one of his problems, a project that he has at work that he's facing some difficulty. There are times I also face problems at work I cannot solve. I call Kingsley like, hey, facing this networking issue, please, how do you troubleshoot this? Because I've tried this, it's not working. And it's like, hey, I think I did that project before on my environment. This is what you need to do. And he provides me with a solution and I fix it. So that's why I spoke to you guys about building these relationships in class.
Yeah.
You know, it will sustain you guys after class, and it's going to be very, very helpful.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter what part of the world you are in. As we have a Jarvis from Sweden, so long as you have an electronic device that you can communicate with us, send the message. We'll always be there. It does not matter what time it is, because they say an IT person never sleeps. I never sleep. My phone always buzzes all the time because I have work emails coming on my phone, every stuff. So communication is one thing too. Always try to reach out. Don't be scared of any question that you have. Ask the question. No question is dumb. No question is stupid. Always ask question. Until when you've tried and tried and tried, you're not able to solve the issue, go to Google first before you go to your boss. I'll give you guys this as an advice tip at work, because I've had it come to me a couple of times. I almost got fired, but I learned my lessons. Because why? I was trying to be, they'll be like, okay, my boss knows it, everything. Since he's up there, I just want to go ask him. But always learn to understand that before they even put you in that position where you are, they know that you know things that you don't have to go research first. So your research on Google should be the last option before you go to your boss. So when you go to Google, if you cannot, if your answer that you get from Google is not still enough, bring it out to your boss. If you cannot find a solution there, bring it to your boss. Like, okay, because first things first, when you go to your boss, this is what he's going to ask you. As Gerard said earlier, have you tried this? What have you done to try? What have you done to like make this work? Where have you done researches? Those are the questions they ask you. And when you start being like, I haven't searched yet, I just came to you directly, they will send you back as a first warning to go do researches. Second time, if you do the same thing, second warning. Third time, he's just gonna be like, okay, you only probably just get a message from HR department like, okay, we don't need you anymore. So those are just some of like the quick tips. You might get fired at work without even you know what you got fired for. But those are the simple mistakes that we make every day that we don't know.
Yeah.
So
And,
always trying to, yeah.
I always say this, like a lot of people come into IT and they just shoot straight and they start doing the top certifications, right?
Nah.
And what we're doing now is building the foundation. They skip this foundation part and they just go and start doing Linux or AWS, fine. And then you interview and you get a job, fine, you're working. Someday your boss tells you, can you change the file type of this document? And you're like,
or I need you to swap a hard drive.
I'm not sure, I don't know what that means. Or can you go behind the server and flip the power supply?
You don't know you don't even know where the power supply is.
You don't even know what the power supply is. You know,
so,
or a peripheral port, they can say, okay, check if the computer has a Thunderbolt. A Thunderbolt it's a port.
We're gonna get into that next week.
Yeah, you don't know what a Thunderbolt port is. You don't know what an HDMI is. You know, it's little things like that. That's what makes you lose your job.
It gets you out of the door.
They'll be like, you're an IT folk making 130K and you don't know what a Thunderbolt port is.
You don't even know where the hard drive is.
Why are you here? Are you gone? You know, so today, after the class, we're gonna upload this recording. It's gonna go to the videos folder, and then we're gonna share the class notes.
That's what I was about. I was about to remind you about that too.
Yeah, go ahead, Kingsley.
Now, I was just about to remind you about that, the class note, because we're gonna share out the class notes. And if you guys want my little note that I have, that was just a rough sketch that I did on my own. And if you guys need that, I can always send you guys. You can always just chat me on Slack. I'll send the link to you guys. Everybody can get access to it if you all need that. And what am I forgetting?
How about the syllabus?
Oh yeah, we're gonna send that to you guys too.
I think I sent that during the registration to everybody. If you go check the emails I sent to you, it contains one of the brochures. It contains everything that we cover in the course.
Yeah. But if you cannot find it, just let us know.
Yeah, if you can't find it in the email I sent you, let me know. I'll resend it again.
Yeah.
I have a question.
Yep.
Yes.
Kingsley said something earlier when he was making introduction, and I wanted to ask him. I believe he said he picked was it AWS over Microsoft?
No, I do Windows over Linux.
Over Linux, okay, sorry.
Yeah,
and
because
why?
So
it's not that
let me answer that question, right? Okay.
Get an answer, because me and you were in the same boat.
So okay, so a couple of years back when we finished the training, right?
Our own training.
So at the time I wasn't working, Kingsley wasn't working too. So we needed a job so bad. So we're interviewing, he's going for interviews, I'm going for interviews, you know. At that point, we just needed anything to start.
Right.
So I'll go for interviews and then I'll come and share my story with him. He'll come and share his with me. And then I applied for this job and they called me and they interviewed me, right? And first stage of the interview, second stage of the interview, third stage, and they said, they're gonna call me. I don't know if I'm gonna get it or not. So I met him, I met Kingsley, and I shared my story with him. He shared his story with me too, that he's been talking to this company and he feels like he's gonna get the job, you know.
Unfortunately,
I'm like, me too, I've been talking to this company. We didn't know we were talking about the same job.
Same company.
We didn't know.
We had the same position, the same company, everything.
Same position, the same. So they interviewed me, called him, interviewed him. We didn't know, right? And so I get the call and then they gave me the job, right? I think he asked for 130K.
Yep.
right? I asked
Don't be
for
scared of money.
120. I asked for 120. So the final two candidates was Kingsley and myself. So they were gonna decide who to give that job
Yep,
to.
it was tough.
You know. So they're like, okay, that guy is asking for 130. This guy is asking for 120. Their skills are the same. What should we do? So let's give it to the guy that wants
That's less
120.
money.
Yeah. So they called me and they gave me the job. You know. So and then they called him and they told him hi, or we decided to go with another person. So he was just curious and he asked like, okay, who did you hire? And they said, we hired one guy. He said, do you mind telling me, maybe I can know him because, you know, I know a lot of Linux engineers around town.
Right.
And they said, his name is Gerard. And he's like, who's Gerard? And they said, Che. Like, wow, that's my guy.
I came back that day. I was like, okay, let's cheers to that. Cheers to that. I came back. I was very happy instead.
You know, so he came back and I hadn't told anybody. I was just by myself. I'm like, hey, I just got a 120K job. And then he came and he called me and he said, congrats. I'm like, what are you talking about? It's like,
He did not know.
You're trying to hide it from me. I'm like, what are you talking about? Oh, the job at Walpole. You think I also? I'm like, what?
How did you know?
You know, so
yeah,
it was
that's
so interesting.
Those are the funny. That's a funny story. But Emeka, just for you to understand, right? I know Linux too. It's not that I'm not a Linux admin. I'm a Linux admin as well, but I'm more focused on the Windows side because this is what I'm doing right now. It does not mean that I cannot do Linux. I cannot apply for Linux job. I can still apply for Linux job because me and him we did the same thing. But he decided to go Linux, and that was what he got at the moment, and so he has always stick with it. And another thing I'm going to let you guys know is that don't always be shy to when they ask you, okay, how much do you want as a pay rate? Don't be shy to tell them the money. If you know what you're worth, give them the price. It's the company that's going to decide now to be like, okay, let's go with somebody that wants, like the way from our story that Gerard said. I was asking what I'm worth. He was asking that because he considered to be like, he's not that he does not know what he worth. He's worth more than $120,000. But the problem was that me and him, we needed a job at that moment. So sometimes, if you know that you are really desperate to need a job at that moment and you know that it's something that you really want to do, that's when you want to go the price a little bit lower so you can get the job. When you get your foot in the door, that's when now as you go, let's say you be there a year, you can start asking for a pay raise or something.
Yeah, because at that point in my life, if they had even given me 90K, I'd have taken it. Because,
right.
You know, I was desperate.
Yeah. And you know, another thing you guys gotta understand is that don't always turn down recruiters. So like when you, even if you have a job, a full-time job, like right now I still get calls from recruiters and stuff like that. I still get job interviews, but I don't take them because I don't want to do right now. But I tell them like, okay, this is what I answer them on the phone. Send me the job description. I have somebody that I'm gonna share with. The person might be interested that needs a job. That's what I do. They send me the job description, and I have people out here. I always talk to people out here that needs a job, IT jobs. Same as we're gonna share on this platform with on Slack. I can see the job that when we've gone too much detail into it, maybe you guys are already like maybe in your the fourth week when you guys start looking for desktop support. I always get those come my way all the time, every day. I can share on the link like, okay, this is what I have, right? If you want to move to Mass, anybody that's in Massachusetts, the person can decide to take. If you're in Texas, I get Texas, I get Georgia, what else? Florida, Virginia. I get jobs from there, but I don't want to move right now. So I might have somebody who's in Virginia or somebody's in Texas that needs a job. I will share the link. Like, go ahead. If you're interested in the job, respond to the recruiter, and he's gonna come back to you.
Also, there are lots of remote jobs. You know, you don't even need to move. There are lots of remote jobs.
Right.
Like just on Wednesday, I was interviewing for a position. Tuesday night, I was rehearsing and going over stuff with Charles. You know, and they needed a cloud engineer that's gonna be doing Linux, Windows, and you know,
AWS.
a lot of AWS stuff. You know, so Charles and we did a wonderful rehearsal, and I went in for the interview Wednesday. It was a remote interview, like I'm talking to you guys. 4 guys interviewed me. I mean, they grilled me. It was a long session, almost an hour and a half or so. You know, it wasn't easy, but hey, I think I did well, and and it's a lucrative role. You know, if I get it, I don't even know what I'm gonna do right now. So,
hey, send it my way.
You know, so the take-home message here is you guys are on the right path. You guys have made a very, very good decision. You know, this is gonna be rocky in the beginning, but the end justifies the means. And
Right.
I know you guys are capable, and there's gonna be a lot of success stories come out of this class. So we're gonna end here for today, and
Just
tomorrow we're
ask
gonna
one question, please.
yeah.
But you guys have been in the business for a long time, IT word. Do you guys see people transit from the Linux stuff you do now, the Linux administration, to programming like coding and
Yes.
all that?
So let me just put it this way: Linux
It's more programming.
Linux came from Unix, right? And Unix is like the mother of all operating systems. Like operating system started with Unix.
Unix.
And then Linux transitioned from Unix and became its own operating system. Nowadays, Linux is the backbone of everything. Everything. Even Windows right now, they have a
server that runs on a Linux.
They have a system known as Linux subsystem for Windows, which is like Linux that has been integrated in Windows, so that Linux admins that are working on Linux stuff on a Windows machine can actually do that directly on the Windows machine. So Linux has become the most powerful operating system out there, way more than Windows.
Canada.
And when we start doing Linux, you understand why Linux is a very powerful, most popular, and most high demand operating system out there. Linux is everywhere. Your phone is running on Linux. Maybe you don't know. If you have an iPhone or you have an Android phone, that is Linux right there. You are playing with. You don't even know. So you interact with Linux every day. If you are using a GPS going anywhere, that is Linux in play. If you're flying an airplane, the those in the cockpit, Linux is running on Linux. Dashboards in the airport running on Linux. Everywhere you come across, you use Linux every day without even knowing.
Gerard,
Linux is like everywhere. Servers
Gerard,
are running on Linux.
In addition
Facebook,
to what,
Amazon, all of them, they're running on Linux.
in addition to what you're saying,
for you to go from Linux to any other field is very, very easy. Say you want to transition from Linux to cybersecurity. You're not even going to succeed in cybersecurity if you don't know Linux at a certain level. You want to go into coding and programming. If you don't know Linux, you're not even going to succeed in that field. So Linux is like the mother of all operating systems. Let me just put it like that, which came from Unix, which is like where everything started.
Jared, can I say something?
Charles, you want to chip in something? Go ahead.
Yeah, sure. So even though you are planning to go into to become a developer later on, you'll find that even though you have maybe like Java or you have Python, in addition to that, most of the platforms that you're going to work on, 80% is going to be Linux. So, and then within Linux itself or Linux itself, we do automation. Most of the things are being automated. And right now, for instance, on the role that I'm at, I need to become better at Python and Ansible. So those are some of the automation programs that we use or tools. So anyone who is starting off with Linux as a foundation is on a sure path. So you can easily make a transition from being a Linux admin to being a Python developer or a Python automation specialist, or
JavaScript
from Linux to Java. Yeah. So
JavaScript.
Yeah, because
C++.
now in Linux you're going to we talk about web servers, and these web servers are going to be running on some programming language. So having a perspective on how things run from start to finish is going to give you a broader perspective, and it's going to make you more marketable compared to most of the people that are going to be on the team. I work with a team of developers in India, and sometimes someone doesn't even literally know how to do basic Linux commands on the console. They are good developers, but when it comes to Linux, they are like, are they really developers? Yeah, they are. They're good as a developer, but as a Linux admin, they don't have that knowledge. And also, if you want to go into things like maybe being a site reliability engineer or being a DevOps, having a programming language in addition to having Linux skills or server administration skills are important, because you will understand what a developer does and you will understand what people on the operations side do. So one, if you want to become a manager, that means it will give you it will put you in a good place maybe 5 years down the road to become a manager. Or if you want to become a CTO, a chief technology officer, that is someone who should have extensive IT knowledge from the operating system side all the way to the developers. So that means you can manage the entire IT infrastructure. So yeah, you're on the right path, and yeah, just learn this stuff in and out.
Any other question before we bounce?
Thank you very much. That was helpful.
My question is, I know you're going to be focusing on some certifications. So as we go through each subject, do you guys touch on the certification also? Like a portion of the questions that we can focus on?
Yeah, at the end of the course, we're going to provide materials to prepare you for the certification. If you want to take the Linux certification, it's going to be the Red Hat Certified Systems Administrator. And if you want to take the AWS certification, it's going to be the AWS Certified Solutions Architect Associate. So these are going to be two certifications that you can take, depending on which route you want to take. If you want to take the AWS route or you want to take the Linux route. But I'll tell you something. For you to be able to get an AWS job, a cloud job, you have to be strong in Linux. If you're not strong in Linux, you're not going to get a cloud role. So that's just to tell you how important the Linux is going to be. So, but at the end, like I told you before, Mr. Maker, it is not a certification that will give you a job. No, it is not. Because I have questions and answers right now that I got from one of my Indian folks. Past exam questions and answers. It's like a pool of questions and answers that they go pull the questions from there and bring in every exam session. There are like 300 questions. I've already highlighted the right answers. If I send them to you today and you spend 2 weeks with it, I assure you, you go past you take the exam, you're gonna pass, but you don't know shit, right? Yeah. So certification doesn't mean anything. It's what you know, projects you've worked on, and how you can defend that in an interview.
Hands-on experience.
Yeah, anyone can pass a certification. I can tell if I send it to you today, I guarantee you in 2 weeks you have a certification.
Just talking about what Gerard said, honestly speaking, right now, I'm working right now. I have a job, but I don't have no certification.
Kingsley, I don't think Kingsley ever took.
I've never took no certification.
Kingsley has never certified in anything.
Nope.
Never. It's been like 5 years now. Yes, he hasn't taken any certification.
But I'm working. So just by what Gerard said, you don't necessarily need a certification. It's your hands-on experience that they require. Everybody can go. You can go get the certification and come and show it. Like, okay, yes, they'll go with you, but they want to know if you can put in the work. That's what they want, for you to put in the work. Like, are you able to do what you say on your resume or on the certification says? If you cannot do that, okay, they'll go with somebody that doesn't have a certification but can do the work. Yeah. So that's what they do.
But we're gonna provide the material for the certification at the end of the course. But what the message I'm passing here is, I don't want you to be certification centric. I want you to be project centric. Think about your hands-on projects and getting the skills. Don't worry about the certification. At the end of the program, I'll provide you the material to go take your certification, and you're gonna take and pass, right? But right now, it is about getting you a job. Even if you have a job right now, it doesn't hurt getting another side gig, right? If you're working from home, you can always get another job.
1 or 2 is not bad.
Keep what you're doing, right? And you're earning extra money that doesn't hurt. If you don't like it, send it to me. I'll take it.
That's what I told you. Send it to me. Send it my way. I'm ready to.
All right. I just want to ask about the study resources. That's apart from the notes, are there any other resources which you are going to send to us?
Yes. So for the first part of the program, so when I start Linux, I'm going to provide you a lot of resources in terms of the text we're going to use and the notes that I have made that I'm going to share with you guys. But right now, we are covering the Windows part. We have some resources that I'll make available to you today. It's going to be in video format. So there is this class that we use. There is a guy that goes by the name Professor Messer, that he's one of the top IT professors out there. He's put together a lot of resources that he's been using over the years to train IT folks. So we have his complete package for A+. We also have his complete package for Network Plus. And we also have his notes that we're going to be using to tutor you guys with. However, we're also going to be making our own notes as we share those notes with you. So Professor Messer's courses is in video format, all in YouTube, which I'm going to share with you. Let me just show you like an example of his.
And and also have the text document too, so you guys can read through the text document. If you have any question next week, you can always come on, ask the question.
Like this is Professor Messer's network class, so we're going to be using this, and I'll share it with you. And when we start networking, I'll expect you guys to go through all these videos, all of them. Some of them are just 10 minutes, some are 5 minutes, some are longer, 15 minutes, but you have to go through all of them before you come to class. So when Mr. Charles is going to be teaching, it's going to make more sense to you. All the concepts are here. So everything is in the notes. When you read the notes, you can come watch his videos. So you're going to see the video format of the notes. So it's going to make so much sense to you when Charles explains them. And he's going to be using this too. So it's a lot of information, but we're not going to do everything here. We're going to select the ones that we require you to know, and then we'll tell you guys to focus on those, Yeah, so this is the Professor Messer's class. It's like about almost 100 videos, but we're not expecting you to watch all 100 videos. You're gonna have the syllables and then know the ones that you have to watch. But if you want to know more, an IT folk is always learning, why not watch everything and gather more knowledge and get a job quicker? So I'm gonna share this with you. I'm gonna share the one for A+2 and also the notes. Yeah, but here is a lot of fun stuff. You're gonna learn about routing and switching, how to configure routers. It's a whole lot of fun stuff. You love it. I promise you that. So I will share it in our class notes today, and where we'll keep our notes and everything, and you guys will have access to it. So it's 1:30. We've gone 1 hour above time. Usually I don't like doing this, but just because it's first day of class and people had questions, it's imperative that we take your questions and clarify any doubts. So we'll still give room for any other question you guys have. Unless there is no other question, then we can call it a day and regroup tomorrow, same time.
Just a quick question. The Wednesday class, will that be recorded also, or just the weekend classes only?
Every class is going to be recorded, every class.
All right, thank you.
Yeah.
Sorry, Mr. Jonathan, please, are you on an island or?
Nah, that's just a backdrop.
Oh, it's just the background. Okay.
I wish. No, it's just a background. I'm here in
would have all come to join you.
Yes. When he gets that job, he'll be working from anywhere he wants.
I think Jonathan is the only one that didn't introduce himself. So that is an engineer from MIT, one of my best friends. So Jonathan, tell us a bit about yourself, Ivy League.
Gerard always likes putting me on the spot. I'm Jonathan. I'm here in Massachusetts, Brockton. So I'm about like this 30
You're
minutes
close to me.
Oh, good. Yeah, so I'm a scientist. As an African, we say by trade. So I'm mostly like a biologist and a chemist at the same time. And
A
Gerard
scientist
and
trained by MIT. You forgot to add that part.
don't listen to Gerard. Just focus on what I'm trying to say. And I mean, Gerard and I have gone a long way since 2012. He used to work at a school that I had the pleasure of going.
MIT. See, just call the name.
So yeah, so Gerard and I have been friends, and ever since Gerard, one thing I like about Gerard is anytime he sees something exciting, he shares it. So I believe 2017, I also used to go to the same church with Gerard. So he started like preaching to the whole church about Lenny's guy. This is so exciting. Get on board, get on board. So like, you know what, you just do your thing and let me do my science. So just last year, my brother-in-law who lives with me took a class with Gerard. And like he showed me a few videos, and he also spoke highly of how Gerard teaches. And I'm like, you know what? I just want to gain the knowledge, even if I don't use it, because I don't want to be the one like in 10 years back, people were saying, oh, in 10 years ago, people were making a lot of money at IT, buying houses. Where were you? So at least I'm curious to learn this stuff. And also just to know where it will take me to. So that's the reason why I'm on this platform. And I also got inspired by my brother-in-law, because ever since he started networking, he started changing like the password for our Wi-Fi and all this. I'm like, hey, this thing I'm missing out to. So time for me to dig my feet in and also learn so that I don't regret like years back. So if I learn this and it becomes so exciting, and the flexibility that comes with it, I might switch from science and do an IT, because I had a long conversation with Gerard that, I mean, at our age, it's not really about what you do, but it's the sort of money that you bring home and the sort of project and investment that you do, and the flexibility also that will come with it. And at the same time, the time you have for your family. So I spoke to Gerard extensively and I said, bro, right now I'm sold. I've humbled myself to be your student. Please teach me. So that's why I'm on this platform.
Can you imagine how hard it is to train an MIT grad? You know, it's not an easy task.
You're definitely on the right path.
Yeah, so
but yeah, what Jonathan said is really true. Hey, you want to be in a situation where your finances are up there, where your wife will not get up one day and put too much salt in your soup, because a lot of money. Fade, you know what I'm talking about, right?
Where were you when your friends were doing the
IT? Or your wife will not ask you when other folks were doing IT, where were you? You know, you don't want that kind of question, you know. So just jump in there, work hard, and it's really lucrative, guys. And you're gonna see it. You know, it's not like we're just blowing hot air. You know, 4 weeks from now, you would have you and I, everyone in class will be using IT terminology. We'll be understanding each other. You'll be talking. People around you will sense a change.
You will not be
like
the same
this
person
is talking different now. 4 or 5 weeks from now, you'll be talking different. You'll be using terminologies. People will be like, okay, where is this one coming from? You know, so that's why we're here, and you're gonna love it. You know,
and also it looks smart, because I'm here and my brother-in-law is just typing bunch of commands on black screen, and like it's so exciting, like, oh, let's go here, yum here, CD here, and I'm like, what is going on here? Just black screen. So it's, to me, it's just a curiosity, and it looks really smart. Like if I can be doing that in a couple of months, I'll feel good about myself.
Yeah.
Don't worry, you'll get there.
And you can make a whole lot of money on the side, like doing stuff for people. Like I had one of my neighbors who brought the laptop. The mouse pad was frozen. He was playing with the laptop and he clicked on something that deactivated the mouse pad on the laptop, so he couldn't use the mouse pad in the center. He brought the laptop to me, and he said he took it to a technician, and they're charging him $600. So I looked at it within 5 minutes. I knew he had deactivated the mouse pad, and I said, come back tomorrow. I think I need to do some extensive research. Something might be wrong. Come back tomorrow. And the moment he left, I just went there and I activated it. It didn't take me a minute. And then I put the machine down and I went and did my stuff. The next day he came and I said, wow, yeah. And I'm like, check it out. And he checked him like, wow, what did you do? I'm like, don't worry. I'm like, just give me half of what they were charging you. I won't take the 600, give me 300. That's it. And, you know, that's the power of IT, guys. You know, that's the power of IT. So we're going to talk more, we're going to develop more, we're going to build more confidence, and we're going to have fun in this process. So I'll let you guys go rest today, and then we're going to regroup tomorrow. I want to thank you guys for your time, and we are in this together. So like I said, keep an eye on the Slack, download it on your phones, download it on your machine,